Very green.
Holy moly.
Great job! Yeah! This guy.
Thank you. Wow!
Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final stream of the season. My name is Eric. I am your host this week. Jarrett, what did you have to say to the people at home? I'm so sorry. I had every word but Senate muted. What was that?
Oh, sorry. I am the Senate.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, welcome to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, final stream of the year. My name is Eric Estepp. I am joined, as always, by Daniel Baldwin, just below me there. Danny B Talks. Diagonally, we've got Darian Gilliam, a.k.a.
Hello.
Black Flags Matter, and you just met him, even though I'm sorry he was muted for like the first two words of his bit. Jared.
Hello.
The Iceberg.
Hello.
Welcome to the stream, championship edition. We're talking all things Phoenix. We don't have a race to preview this week, so we can spend a little extra time kind of
We can preview the Daytona 500, can't we?
Yeah.
Yes,
Or no,
never
the
too early.
Clash. We could preview the Clash.
Never
man.
too early to
Yeah.
talk about the Clash. Well, we could do that. Really, I think a large portion of this stream will be kind of just us reminiscing about the great moments of racing this season, great moments on this show, if there were any, quite honestly. And then we can talk a little bit about next year if we want to, Danny. Never too early to start planning. But guys, Phoenix happened. Joey Logano is your 2022 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Let's start with the Cup race. Jarrett, how does Joey Logano, now being a two-time champion, how does that change his legacy right now? And maybe the second part of the question, how far do you think he can go? He's only 32 years old.
I think right away, I mean, he's the only person outside of Kyle Busch that's currently racing full-time that is going to be, at this point, a multi-time champion. So I think in that respect, it changes his legacy a lot in the respect that he's pulled away in some way from everybody else in the field at this point and those who will be coming up soon. Being 32 years old and already having 31 wins, I believe it is. I think he's tied with Martin Truex Jr. at the moment for wins. And I think he has a bit more longevity than him. I'm actually going to
Jarrett, I just noticed you
the
changed your
wins list.
username to I am
I
the
saw that.
Senate.
I was
When
waiting
you-
for
when-
somebody to notice.
When you had him full screen, I was like, does that really say that?
Spencer in the chat noted it first. So I was like, wait, what? Hold on.
Yeah, I've been realizing I can work on those. But getting back to Joey Logano real quick, he is tied for 28th all time right now with Martin Truex Jr. at 32 years old. He is not even close age-wise to the prime of his career yet as a NASCAR driver. That will probably come in the next 5 to say 7, 8 years. Say, the next 10 years, he averages 2 wins a year. He's already going to be up there with greats like Ned Jarrett and Junior Johnson, Lee Petty, Rusty Wallace, Kevin Harvick. And he's going to have a lot more time to be able to actually run up there and get more wins than them. I'm looking at the guys that he could very easily pass in the next year or two. Dale Jarrett with 32 wins, Kurt Busch 34, Fireball Roberts 33, Keselowski 35, Kenseth 39.
A lot of the people you're naming there, Kenseth, Keselowski, Jarrett, if I'm not mistaken, just one-time champions. And I know we look at championships a little bit differently in the modern age and the 2010s and 2020s than maybe we do in the 90s, 80s, and before. But like the fact that he's already a two-time champion and has a good probably 10 more years minimum to maybe win another one or two. Like if he wins 2 more titles, which I think is doable, same number as Jeff Gordon. He's never going to reach the 90-something wins that Jeff Gordon has, but like I don't know. Do you think he'll ever be in the conversation? Not with Petty, Earnhardt, and Johnson, the 7-time champions. I don't think he ever gets to that level. But do you think he'll ever be in the same conversation with the Waltrips, or maybe even like Jeff Gordon one day?
I mean, let's see, 31 wins, and he's 32. Races probably competitively 15 more years, let's say. I don't think it's out of the question win-wise. If he's in the range of Bobby Allison, Darrell Waltrip, Jimmy Johnson, Cale Yarborough, Dale Earnhardt. Like, I don't think that's out of the question with how young he is. It's not like Kyle Busch, where he's like in his late 30s and has shown signs of deterioration. Like, at this point, Logano has shown that, yeah, every even year he'll be in the Final Four. But I honestly, God, think that he can be in the conversation with them. Do I think that, do I think he'll win more championships than Gordon? No, just because the system is very much geared towards making it much more difficult towards the end of the year for someone to lock in. You can't say what you will about the point system we have now. You can't break this system the way Jimmy Johnson broke the chase, or the way Earnhardt and Petty broke full season points and figured out the way to go about it. It's different every year. But I think wins wise, he could be right up there in the 70s or 80s by the time he's out, which it would put him in probably the top 10 all time.
Yeah, right now he's a 2-time champion. Only 17 drivers in NASCAR history have won more than one Cup Series title. So Darian, I want to shift over to you here. How does being a 2-time champion change Joey Logano's legacy in the here and now?
Well, it's crazy. It's night and day compared to 10 years ago, because just 10 years ago, some were calling him a NASCAR bust. They were writing him off like, another Joe Gibbs Racing failure. He can only win in the Xfinity series, which he could at the time too. It was crazy. He would win like 8 or 9 wins in Xfinity, and then only like 1-2 wins every like 4 years or something like that. But this definitely changes his legacy too. And then when you also consider the fact that it's extremely hard to become a multiple-time champion in this era too, and he's won both of his championships in this era too. I mean, he joins a very exclusive club with him and Kyle Busch being the only two to do that, so that's pretty neat company to be in. But yeah, no, how many wins does he have so far in his career? 31. So yeah, so like again, like to Jared's earlier points, around 10 to 15 years of of competitiveness, still hasn't reached his peak yet. So yeah, I don't think it's out of the question that if he does play his cards right, he could definitely be in that conversation with the Waltrips and maybe even Gordon down the road.
Here's a cool tidbit here from our buddy Peter in the chat. He's the first multi-time Ford champion since David Pearson.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And then for Team Penske too, like he's the first multi-time champion in NASCAR for Team Penske, right?
And Penske winning the IndyCar championship and the NASCAR Cup Series championship this year. It's been a big year for the captain. I want to talk to you for a second here, Danny. Logano's 2 for 5 now in his championship 4 appearances. He's won it twice. That's a 40% winning percentage. Like, that's pretty good. I guess Kyle Larson is 100%. He's 1 for 1. I know Kyle Busch is 2 for 5 as well, but I don't think there's anyone else with this format who has as good of a winning percentage in the championship race. So like, is Logano just like clutch? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, that's definitely really good odds. And I guess other people come to mind. We've seen multiple guys make it multiple years, like consecutively. Like there was that run where it was like always Truex, Busch, Harvick. They were always in there, but they each only won it one time while they was in there. Now he's had 5 attempts at it. He's won it twice, like you said. So 40% is really good. Chase Elliott's won it one time and it's 3 times he's been in there. So I think there's multiple guys that can still be kind of clutch at the same time too. But as far as Logano goes, that's really good. And you guys were saying earlier, he's only in his lower 30s. If you consider Kevin Harvick is still racing at 46 years old, Kurt Busch had planned to be racing longer, but unfortunately not able to at 44 years old. So, if he has a career even like those guys, as far as like the length of time with it, we could very well easily see Logano have, 5 to 7 more chances at this if he's able to get himself in championship 4 a lot more times. But who knows what'll happen as this car progresses, how he'll be with it in the long run. So it's just kind of a wait and see kind of thing, but he's got plenty of time to stack up a few more. Now, because of the fact he's had a few times and he's only got it to 2 times, I wouldn't say he's necessarily going to go on a Jimmy Johnson-esque run where he gets multiple consecutive or anything, but I would not rule out a possible 4 championships at total for Joe Logano, maybe even 5. I wouldn't rule it out because of the way this format works. If he can, learn to finesse a little bit more as things go on, I wouldn't be shocked if that happens with Logano down the road.
Yeah, he was dominant. I think we can kind of focus more on this race in particular for a moment. Talking about Phoenix, it was really the Joey Logano show. I think we've talked plenty about what he can do in the future. There's certainly going to be many more opportunities down the road for Joey Logano to contend for more and more Cup championships. But what happened this weekend, I think from Friday through Sunday was utter domination. And I mean, Joey Logano, I think, deserves a lot of credit for that. It sounded like he and his crew chief, Paul Wolf, also gave Ryan Blaney and his team a lot of credit for also unloading fast and being able to bounce notes and ideas off of. Two of them were the class of the field. Like, do y'all think, did any of the championship four really have anything for Joey Logano at any point Sunday?
Well, when you consider this one fact that just only that in the race, there was only one lap of green flag action where one of the championship four contenders was ahead of Joey Logano, then that says it all right there, man. It was really a no contest. I mean, it seemed like right from the very beginning, really from the ever since qualifying had taken place. He wins the pole, and then right away in stage 1, 2, he just dominates. Just, he's in his own zip code. And then I don't know, it seemed like at the beginning of stage 3 that it was looking like Chase Elliott might have had something for him, maybe, but then he turned himself, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it was really a no contest, and I think you could really trace it back to him getting locked in the championship 4 early. He had 2 whole weeks. I mean, that team had 2 whole weeks to just focus on the Phoenix setup, and it paid dividends.
Yeah, exactly. In a day and age where the cars are all identical, I mean, they're all getting the same parts. It's just how you assemble it and then how you prepare it from a setup standpoint. Having 2 extra weeks to solely focus on Phoenix. Like, Logano didn't run that great at Homestead or Martinsville. I think he ran like between 8th and 12th in both races. He was just
pretty mediocre.
He did fine.
Yeah.
He did okay. But no, their focus was clearly on Homestead. And Jared, it clearly worked out because, yeah, like Darian said, only 1 lap of that entire race was spent with a different championship 4 driver out front. Like, he started on the pole. And Christopher Bell, meanwhile, is back there in like 17th. Chastain's in 25th. Like, the gap from between the guys with experience and the drivers who were there for the first time was I think staggering. I don't know if you saw it the same way.
Chastain's qualifying run shocked me because I think he was very fast in practice. Sorry for interrupting there.
No, I felt like Bell at the end, his setup had like finally come in, and it seemed like he was actually running laps that were comparable to what Logano was doing, and with the restarts being so close, he would have had a shot, but his crew absolutely collapsed at the worst possible moment. And unless they changed it, isn't that the same crew that was swapped and had stuff changed around with Bubba Wallace's crew?
I know they changed a couple crew members. I'm not sure. Wasn't it the Jackman, I believe, who got his finger caught? I think it was the Jackman, or maybe it was.
Oh yeah, he had his no. It was one of the tire changers had his finger caught.
Whoever it was, I'm not sure if they were one of the Bubba crews, but that's possible. It is definitely a point.
I think what was happening there was he's basically just trying to hold the tire on as he went to lock it in, and it just kind of got wedged in there.
Yeah, no, I think there was the RFK crew member, Keselowski's crew, I think that got, or maybe it was Buescher's, who got sort of like sideswiped by somebody as they were coming in. I know he went to the hospital and has been since released and is recovering. I don't know what the latest update on Bell's crew member is. I know he was icing his hand on pit road. That leads me to believe that it may be serious, but it's not like, career threatening, hopefully. But obviously wishing him the best. It was an unfortunate and seemingly very painful mistake that, like you said, Jared, kind of cost Bell a shot, because it looked to me like Bell had almost enough of a long run car to challenge Logano. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure he passes him without severe lap traffic assistance, but he at least had enough to like keep Logano in his sights and keep him honest. Whereas I don't think any other driver really at any point today, besides Blaney, who wasn't in the championship picture, really had that chance.
Yeah.
And also too, clean air was king all night, all day.
Yeah. I mean, Chastain, like, he started to make a bit of a run, but it was like he had to basically capitalize off of any problem whatsoever in lap traffic that the 22 had, and it was with the 12 there anyway, it probably wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
Logano had enough of a buffer with him.
That's what I was thinking, is Blaney was kind of there to play defense if Logano needed it. I felt like they were both sort of sandbagging a little bit in the final, however long it was, 30 laps.
But at the same time, I know Blaney got out in his post-race interviews. He was seemingly kind of pissed at the way that went off. So I don't know if he was really trying to be where he was. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe like obviously they can't come over the radio and say, "Hey, don't pass Logano or don't race him," because that could be a penalty. So maybe there was
they
a
just take the
pre-race.
championship away from you if you do that.
Well,
Exactly.
actually,
maybe there was a pre-race plan that said, "Hey, if you're behind Logano late, do not pass him," and that was just a pre-race plan.
Especially when Chastain was that close. I mean, it would just be like if he had tried to race him to try to get a win, Chastain could have caught up to him.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan Blaney, I don't know if y'all saw his post-race interview. Like Dave Burns, I guess, had sort of asked him that, was sort of leading to that question, and then like Ryan Blaney was just like, "No, I just couldn't pass him." Man, what a dumb question. I was like, "Whoa, like dang!" Like he said,
that's
told
not
Dave
a dumb
Burns
question. No.
Well, Peter adds in the chat, Roger told Blaney, "quote You're the 22's wingman."
No,
did he say that over the radio? Because I didn't hear that.
So I don't know if it's over the radio. That's what Peter says in the chat.
Yeah.
That's what Roger told Blaney.
Yeah, and also too, Blaney's frustrated because now he didn't score a win. This is like the first season he's raced in his full-time Cup career where he didn't score a win, unfortunately.
It's like all those wins he got last year. It's like, okay, you can get all those wins last year, but trade in your 2022 spot.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like Blaney is cursed to win one race a year. So since he won 3 last year, that means the next 2 years he's got to go win this to pay the tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Ross Chastain, Jarrett. I want to talk. I kind of want to spend a moment talking about each playoff or championship Ford driver. We've talked about Logano, what this means for his legacy. Sky is the limit. I think we all agree. But Ross Chastain ends up second, and I was in the media center after the race when he was talking to everybody, and he sounded. I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said that he kind of expected to be a lot angrier, a lot more upset if he finished second. Like he said all week leading up to this race, he kind of thought about like, how am I going to feel if I finish second and I'm really close but don't quite get there? He thought he'd be angry, and he said really he really wasn't. He was very kind of at peace with it, still hungry for more, of course, but to me what that told me was Ross Chastain maybe has finally turned that corner. He's no longer forced to scratch and claw for every position because he's in inferior equipment. Now he maybe finally feels comfortable. He's like, hey, I am in one of the best cars. This won't be my only chance at a win. This won't be my only chance at a championship. Maybe going forward, we see a Ross Chastain that is a little more patient. That's not get all the time and is a little more give. I don't know. But either way, he sounded, I don't know, surprisingly just grateful to even be in this position. But I guess, gentlemen, we start with you, Danny. Ross Chastain, first year with Trackhouse, second in the championship. Like that's nobody expected them to be there.
Mm-mm.
No, definitely not. And it's funny, before Trackhouse even bought Chip Ganassi Racing, the plan originally was going to have Chastain back in the 42, I think, and Zane Smith would have been in the 1 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. So now it's funny how that all worked out. Zane Smith become a Truck Series champion, and Chastain was fighting for the Cup Series championship because of the way that all went down. But also you think about it like this: it was going to be a lot for Chastain just to win his first race this season because, what his background, where it's come from. And I think he exceeded his own goals. He won 2 races this year. So, he had to have the goal of winning 1 race, and he got 2 wins. But when I talked about in a video last week where I gave a reason for every driver to win a championship and a reason for every driver to lose a championship, the reason I gave for Ross to lose a championship is that he has not been able to be clutch and win here late in the season. He got all his wins earlier in the year, but as the season progressed, everyone caught up. They just did not have the same speed that they had earlier in the year, and he couldn't win the races when he needed to. And that's why I didn't think he would be able to win it this weekend. Ultimately, proved me right to a point. Had a great finish, and he's had a lot of great finishes this year because he's had the most top 5s, but ultimately that wasn't enough. You got to be able to win it in this type of format.
Didn't Daniel Suarez win like the final Trackhouse race of the season? Right? Like his win
yes.
was more recent.
Yes, you're right.
It was more recent than Ross Chastain's. But I mean, all in all, it was still a fantastic year. Like I think if I were to go watch our first podcast of the season in February, I don't think any of us chose Ross Chastain to go this far. So, but little did we know, man. Overall, a spectacular year. Unfortunately, like Danny had said earlier, towards the end of the year, just all the other teams are starting to catch up, and it just happens. But they were able to stay consistent when it mattered the most. Looking back at Las Vegas, obviously Joey Logano had the fresher tires there too. But if, a few things would have fallen Ross Chastain's way, then hey, he would have gotten the win, and then that would have given that team more time to prepare their Phoenix setup. So that's another what if. But But no, and I mean, obviously everyone's going to remember 2020, his 2022 season for the insane video game move at Martinsville. But yeah, no, overall a good season, and really also a sort of a chaotic one too, with all the attention that move brought to him and the sport as well. And then also, his feuds with Denny Hamlin, and then getting the better of Denny Hamlin and when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
He had a lot of main character energy this year.
It's just crazy.
That is a good way to put it. He felt like the main character of this season. The ups and downs, the trials and tribulations. Sorry, Darian.
Yeah, I was just saying, just think where he was. Just think back to where he was in 2018. Because, we were ending season 1 and we were like, oh, we can't wait to see him drive for Tip Gannett. And then all that stuff happened and stuff. So to get to this point, it was crazy. It seemed like his career was down in the dumps there for a moment. But then, spectacular comeback.
Honestly, because I want to hear from you in a second here, Jarrett. But also think back even to was it Gateway earlier this year? Where he gets out of the car and is just like ready to quit. He's ready to say, like, hang it up and say, I'm not good enough after the mistakes he made. And he was very open and honest and emotional about it. Like, that's what I think when you say main character energy, that's exactly right. Like, from the underdog beginnings, nobody knows what to expect out of the new guy with the still very young team, to the struggles, finding his footing, trying not to make too many enemies, failing at that along the way, to then winning 2 races. Again, 2 years ago, nobody saw Ross Chastain winning cup races at this point, to ultimately making it all the way to the championship, for coming up just this close, this far off from it. Jarrett, Ross Chastain's season, I feel like, is going to be what's talked about as much or more than Logano's this year.
It will. I have a question for Chastain going into the next year, though. Is when you're looking at like drivers who have like proved themselves that they're there, like it's not even it might not even be like a super memorable win, but there's just a race where they go out and they just take the field behind the woodshed. And in typical Chastain fashion, his wins were in a absolute crazy finish at the end of Coda and Talladega. And what I would want from Chastain moving forward, because what he did this year is great. He's the feel-good story of this year, I think. I want to see Chastain take that next step next year. And in a lot of ways, what a lot of people would say is put the beginning, middle of an end to a race together and just go out and be the best guy out there, win unchallenged, and prove that you don't have to win in these crazy ways. Because it's awesome. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. But it was, 27, 26 races now that he hasn't won a race?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was unsustainable. You're not going to be able to knock AJ Allmendinger out of the way for a win every single week.
Yeah.
And then also the crazy Talladega finish. So those wins were just barely.
Yeah. You think about how much things could have been different if he hadn't got those wins. You go back to Coda. Bowman was making a good move.
I knew it. All roads lead to Bowman.
But it's just because we do have to talk about it. He was close. He was close to winning that one, and then Allmendinger kind of like made that not happen. And then the whole thing of Talladega, that was all like crazy with Eric Jones and Kyle Larson. I don't know what they was thinking throwing that block, but Chastain didn't care. He was ready.
Yeah.
That's the thing is
someone made a move and he was there.
He's 2 different moves away from having a winless season and being an awesome story. And so that's what I'm saying is go out there and just have that, like, go to Gateway. That would be perfect. Go to Gateway and lead like 150 laps and just prove that, no, I don't have to win in crazy ways. Because I like what he did this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got 6 wins next year. I also wouldn't be surprised if he went winless next year. And it's the craziest driver in the series because there's no other driver who I could think that with. I mean, he hasn't won in 27 races.
Yeah.
Can I make a note real quick? Since we were on the subject of if things happen a certain way, then this X wouldn't have happened. I realized it earlier this week. Do you guys realize that if Chase Briscoe didn't mess up at Dirt Bristol, Kyle Busch would have went winless in his last season of Joe Gibbs Racing?
Yeah.
That's just crazy to think about.
It's been that type of year.
But I mean, for Ross Chastain, I agree, Jarrett. Like, I feel like next year there's going to be no in between. It's either going to be really good or he's going to regress a ton. I
don't even think he regret. A winless season, yes, regression in the win column, but he's being a
He still remains consistent, but yeah, if he
As-
does, but if he
Didn't
doesn't
have
get
the
a
most
win,
top
though,
fives
yeah.
in the series this year, I'm pretty sure.
As long as he fires back, I think let's just say 15 top 10s and 10 top 5s, maybe a win. That's nothing to be upset about. Now, if he comes out and only does like 4 top 10s throughout the year, then I'd be concerned.
Yeah, but it's also predicated on if his team will take the next step too.
So,
not
I
just
mean,
him.
Yeah.
look, like this is an interesting stat. This is the first season, total season, aside from the 8 race season in 1949, where no driver has led 1,000 laps or more.
Yeah.
Dang, just
Like,
talk about
and-
parity, man.
And you look at the guys that led, like, if you look at how many laps he led, I think he led 617 laps this year. I think he could hit 1,000 next year, because I think next year will probably be a more normal year. And now I'll say this, you can clip me next year when it's crazier. But I mean, you look at who he's been around this year. Like, when it comes to laps led, he's basically done the same as Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson. That's
Yeah.
pretty good company.
Yeah.
I
Most
think
top 10s, most top 5s. He 21 top 10s, 15 top 5s. The DNF column might need to get worked on. He had 5 DNFs this year.
Yeah.
But
That's manageable.
I think
Yeah.
next year, what Jarrett just said, being a little bit more normal. I think next year we'll see a few more teams be more used with this car, especially if they make any changes. We'll see what happens. I'm going to say there's still some parity, but I'm going to say like only 11 winners next year is my prediction right now.
11 winners.
I
So
won't
it wasn't
go
that long
11.
ago. It wasn't that long ago that we had Bubba, Jones, who's the third guy, sweep the first round. Oh, Busher, that we had them sweep the first round of the playoffs. That was, I don't know.
I'm just thinking there'll be someone. Sorry, there'll be someone that gets the hang of it next year. I feel like.
I think it'll be less than 19 this year, but I wouldn't go
Yeah.
11. I think it'll be in the 15 to 16 range if I had to predict.
If I'm looking at next year, though, I mean, you're looking at some of these guys early in the year that had issues that could have won multiple races. I mean, Denny Hamlin, for instance, he looked like he was on his way to winning at Las Vegas before shifting.
Yeah.
And that's a problem that a lot of these drivers went through early. You're looking at Auto Club, for instance, some of these guys spinning out like and having issues with tires, like Tyler Reddick. It's not probably going to happen as much next year. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're actually going to be talking more about points next year. Just because just like in 2008, just like in 2014, the best teams, they're the ones that take the biggest steps in the off season and hit the ground running the next year. Doesn't mean we're not going to be competitive by any means. I mean, 2014, I think, was like this year, had 5 wins for the most. But I mean, you could have a 2008 like with the COT where 3 guys go out and win 2/3 of the races. I think it's going to be like somewhere in between that next year.
Sure.
I'm going to say this now. For preseason, like very early preseason, way too early in the preseason to even make preseason.
It's barely the
predictions.
off season.
I want to say this. I think Kyle Larson's going to bounce back, not to 2021 levels, but maybe to number 1 driver at Hendrick levels again.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could see him getting 7 wins next year. That's my.
I don't want to stop you guys, but I don't want to get too off topic because we were kind of going down the line of championship drivers. We'll talk next year towards the end of the show here. But as I saw Mickey Logano put in the chat, Ross Chastain for most popular driver, voting is open. I believe.
He's not going to be.
he-
Voting is
will
sponsored
not-
by Hooters.
He will not beat Chase Elliott, but
No.
he could be a close like 3rd or 4th at this point.
Yeah.
I expect him to be among the finalists. Speaking of Chase Elliott, let's talk about him. In my opinion, he qualified well, 5th, but early on, he was the only one of the championship 4 moving backwards slightly. He seemed to me to be the weakest of the 4 this weekend, which was a little surprising. I guess not if you consider that he'd been kind of inconsistent during these playoffs. But the big drama of the race, between the championship guys at least, came early in stage 3 when on a restart, Chase Elliott went low. Everyone went low onto the apron, and he came down across the front nose of Ross Chastain, spun and hit the inside wall. That ended his
Racing
race.
deal.
Oh,
It
Racing
shouldn't
deal.
even be drama. That was on Chase.
Yeah, it's his fault, man. Sorry, I'm not even trolling or nothing. I just
Yeah,
it's
that
his
was
fault.
on Chase Elliott. My wife is a Chase Elliott fan. She admitted that was all on Chase.
Yeah,
Is
I
there-
mean, look, you're driving for a championship. Like, you can't really. I mean, like, they're not going to give an inch, So it's like,
Well, no,
I mean-
okay, I will push back on that. I think there are a lot of drivers in that field who would have given Chase Elliott a couple inches there.
Well, not Ross.
No, not exactly. Not Ross. That's where I do agree. I think the vast majority of the blame's on Elliott. He kept coming down. Chastain had the position. Elliott, he probably just didn't know he was down there, kept coming down. It's on Elliott. But at the same time, there are a lot of drivers out there that would have moved a little bit, that wouldn't have backed out necessarily, but would have gone lower to give Chase Elliott a little bit of room there. The thing is that Elliott and his team needed to have the awareness to know that Ross Chastain is not one of those guys. Ross Chastain, the moment you see he's restarting behind you on the inside lane, you knew exactly where that number 1 car was going. So why would you even put yourself in any sort of vulnerable position? So it's on Elliott, but I don't think it's quite that cut and dry, because I do think there are a lot of drivers out there that would have cut Chase some slack. So like Ross Chastain, I know he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt from most people. I don't know. Jarrett, you've been quiet. Do you have a different take on this? Do you give any blame to Ross Chastain?
I mean, he had the position already. Like, I get that you have to be a lot more aggressive with this system, and a lot more aggressive as a championship race like that to get ahead of guys like that. And I understand Elliott doing it, but I can't say that I'm blaming Ross Chastain when this is, in a lot of ways, this is similar to what happened in 2016 with Edwards and Logano. You know, there's only so much racetrack you can go down before you're the one on the inside wall.
And you'll remember Carl Edwards, who was, I guess, the Chase Elliott in this instance, went over and apologized to Joey Logano's team. So, I mean,
and then we never saw him again.
He sailed onto the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Across it. Hasn't he sailed across the Atlantic like twice? Didn't he say that in an interview?
Yeah, he's just the man. At this point, I'm pretty sure the man is like went to the moon.
I know it's we just had election day. Did Carl has he run for office yet? Has he ever officially
the Senate?
He seems like someone who would.
I thought he was
mounting. Do it, Carl.
I thought I remember we found like an article that had him like he was toying the idea of running for some sort of office. Anyway, that's a total tangent. Chase Elliott though, regular season.
It is election time.
Regular season champion, 3rd straight championship for. I mean, the he's been one of, if not the best driver over the course of the last 3 years. Just didn't get it done in this case, but like we all think he'll be back, if not next year, the year after, right? He'll be.
I think he'll be in the. If I had to be a betting man right now, I'd rather bet for Chase Elliott to make the Final Four next year than miss it.
Yeah, he will have more of a challenge this year from Kyle Larson, though. This is just a bit of an off year for that team.
It might be both of them going at it.
Yeah. So yeah, you never know. But yeah, no, Chase Elliott, spectacular regular season. Really got a hold of this car too with all the parity going on. It seemed like he was extremely consistent, obviously, because he won the regular season championship. But then once we hit the playoffs, it just nothing was really the same after that.
It was a like controlled demolition. It felt like just it was a bit of a collapse towards the end. He got 3 top 10s in the last 10 races. Yeah,
only 1 top 5.
Not all of it. No, he had
or 2 top 5s.
He got 2
top 5s. Yeah.
But he like, I get not all of it was his fault, but you can say that about every playoff driver. Like when it came down to it, just that team just I brought that up, I think back at like I want to say before Bristol. I was like, this team just doesn't seem like the same team it was 5-10 weeks beforehand. And I don't know what kind of stuff they lost. They'll get it back. Like I do think they'll get it back, but they just hadn't seemed right since about the Indy road course. Just something was off.
Unrelated, sort of related to the previous unrelated topic, but Blue Jimmy fan and Slow Motion in the chat they believe Austin Terrio actually won the race he was running in Maine. I think he was running for either a state representative. He might have been running for like a U.S. representative, from Maine. They're saying they believe he won. If somebody can Google that, did Austin Terrio, who was one of the first NASCAR Weekly podcast guests I remember having on this show. It was season 1, maybe season 2.
Kamikaze Games on that too.
Did he actually win election to some sort of U.S. or governmental office? That's pretty wild. Good for him, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now, so I'll update you if I find anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see right here. Representative-elect Austin Terrio, a former NASCAR driver from Fort Kent, fared well in the St. John Valley area, and was, let's see, so he won. Yes.
Oh,
he won.
Wow.
It doesn't say what exactly he won. I don't really care.
What's his prize? Did he win the Powerball? Did he win the $2 billion?
No, someone in
Um,
LA won the Powerball. Actually,
No.
I know.
Yeah,
Saw it.
yeah, I believe the winning numbers for that was RIGGED.
Well, good for Austin Terrio. I guess
Yeah.
back on track real quick. We've talked about Logano, Chastain, Elliott. Real quick, we can talk about C. Bell. I know he was my pick. Who else had him winning the championship? Was Jared?
I actually
Yeah,
looked
so
back.
close.
I picked him at the start of the season. I
So
was that
close.
close.
So
Just that
close.
I don't remember who I picked. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember.
But a tremendous year for Christopher Bell. Statistically was the best Joe Gibbs Racing driver and team by far. So I think that's something to hang your hat on. I don't remember the last time the 20 team carried JGR. It might have been 2013 or 2015. No, 2013 probably was the last time the 20 car carried JGR. So
Yeah,
something.
but
to be proud
also
of.
too, I mean, just considering what they went over,
Joe
from
Gibbs Racing
late
as a team,
Saturday,
yeah.
yeah,
No, that's a good point.
for them to put in a decent performance like that was good. That was very
Yeah,
promising.
absolutely. Yeah.
Looking at the JGR or not JGR front, the Christopher Bell front, as a season, he is one of only 3 drivers that got 20 or more top 10s this year. Like the consistency is there for him. And I wanted to compare that with previous seasons, just because it seemed like just about everybody had their normal season go down that was up top. And I was looking at last year, for instance, and last year, 8 drivers had 20 or more top 10s. The year before that, they had another 8 drivers. Like, for a year that's hard to finish up front, Christopher Bell managed to do it pretty darn well, especially after how bad he started the season. I mean, at one point he was like in the 30s in the points.
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks into the year, things were looking bad. The thing about Bell is the fact that he was able to win late. We talked about Chastain winning early. Chase Elliott did most of his damage early, was not as consistent in the playoffs. Bell was one of the few who actually clearly improved in the final 10 races. And I think that's, there is something to that. When everyone's at their best, you were better than them at several moments, several key moments. I think there's something to be proud of there for Christopher Bell.
3 wins. He got 3 wins, 12 top 5s. I mean, that's the same as guys like Blaney and Chase Elliott. Almost 600 laps led, so he's right up there with everybody else. Like he was one of the best guys in that scrum up top, because that's basically at the end of the year what it turned into with Elliott returning to the mean of the field. Like, he was one of those guys who actually was able to rise above when everybody else was sinking.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think on that note, gentlemen, can we talk about Phoenix Raceway for just a moment before we get into the ratings, the poll? We'll see what the chat with our viewers at home.
Mid.
Hold on now. Okay, I'm gonna defend Phoenix Raceway for just a moment. The city, I went to Miami for one championship race, and I get Miami's a big destination city. Maybe I know Phoenix is a big city, but it's not maybe as much of a destination city. Don't they have the Super Bowl this year? I think
they've had the Super Bowl there before too.
Yeah.
They have one of the college football semifinal games. I know that.
Oh yeah, the Fiesta Bowl. I believe.
But my point is, I think Miami typically year-round has more distractions, perhaps, than Phoenix does. But you show up to Phoenix, and it's pretty clear, especially the closer you get to Avondale. NASCAR's in town. They do a good job promoting it. They had a sellout in the grandstands. I saw more people on Rattlesnake Hill than I did last year, more campers. It seemed like at least 50, 60,000 people were there this weekend. So the venue, the actual facilities, to me, are more than championship worthy. They are some of the best I've seen across the NASCAR circuit. I will give you this, though, Darian. The on-track product is very mid. I agree.
That's solely what I'm talking about too.
Yeah,
because
okay.
I mean they
It's
put
just
in
a
all
shame,
those
'cause they poured
upgrades
in-
for a reason.
Yeah, they poured in all this money to make the fan experience tremendous. Like I said, I think one of the best on the schedule. And then the racing, whether it's PJ1, whether it's resin, whether it's just in turns 1 and 2 or just in turns 3 and 4, whether it's high downforce, low downforce, Gen 6, next gen, it just doesn't seem to matter. The racing isn't terrible. It's not unwatchable like Texas or something like that. It's just mid. And I don't know. The championship race, I think, needs to have a little more spice than that. You need to be able to pass a little easier. I don't want my championship race being a total shit show, craziness, chaos. I want it to be fairly straightforward. I want the fastest cars to run up front and win the race because it's the championship. But Phoenix, I don't know. Jared, can anything be done to Phoenix That's my first question. And second, if you don't think there's anything,
What haven't they done to it?
Well, I guess you're true. That's true. They've thrown the kitchen.
They
sink
changed
at
it so many times
well,
at this point.
They put that thing under the axe more than Joan Rivers at this
Yeah.
point. Like that thing gets like a face upgrade every other year at this point. I mean, well, the last one was what, like 2019, and then before that was like 2017. They
and
did
then
something to it.
and then
They did
before
something in
that was
2011.
2011. Yeah.
Like
It all started when they took the grass out of it.
Like the track is a transformer. It looks different every time you look back at it. Like there's nothing really more you can do to it. They added the dog leg to spice up the restarts. Congrats, that did work. But I feel like at this point, with a new contract coming up, you can maybe have it at Phoenix because of the amenities at one point. Maybe have that big race set up. But like as great as stuff, like I'll take your word for it. From what it sounds like at the track and what people who have been there have told me, it's like top notch, like top of the line, Daytona
It's nice.
Rising's level.
It's close to that, if not there. There's just not quite as much in the immediate area, but it's
There needs to be a rotation, and
Sure.
what's hard is they want to keep it at NASCAR owned tracks, which
That's
it's like.
true.
I wish they weren't so hard pressed at ISC because there's some great SMI tracks that host the championship. I mean, Bristol comes to my mind. Bristol it'd be amazing to see that place packed out for a NASCAR championship race if possible. And people make the argument, oh, but the temperature at the time, bull crap. People sit out in that temperature for Tennessee balls every Saturday.
And it wasn't that cold over the weekend.
Well, no, I mean, I could even bring up right now, with the news of a little bit moving forward about the fairgrounds, why not at some point have one championship race there? You're in downtown of a big city. You're 10 minutes away from Broadway. You have everything NASCAR wants from their races in Los Angeles and Chicago, and maybe Pittsburgh, like any of that stuff. All these big things they're doing, they could have that in Nashville. You have, probably 30,000 fans. It'll look full. The atmosphere will be amazing with it. Yeah. You can do it whenever you want, during that weekend. You want to end on a Saturday night, we got lights. It's going to look good that way. You want to do it in the middle of the day, it's going to look good no matter what. Like, it fits that. If, Las Vegas, for instance, has great racing now. And I think if you cut that to one race, just that 1 year for the championship, and it's like, hey, you want to get your Vegas fix, come to the championship race, pack that thing out. Like, I think you could do that too. And you have a racing product that would actually fit it. Because I think both Vegas races were pretty darn good this year. Auto Club as a short track.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think when we see, if that turns into a banger and we're looking at like an awesome track on our hands, if that is the case, and knock on wood it is, I think NASCAR's doing it there because they'll want that West Coast audience.
Yeah.
Did you guys see what they did this week? Immediately, all this week, they dragged Logano out to LA. They had him there taking pictures at the LA Coliseum. Yeah. So if all we're going to do is take the champion immediately to LA, let's just have it in LA.
Yeah. It saves on travel. One less bus ride. He's not taking a bus. One less plane ride. Imagine Joey Logano on like a Greyhound bus across the freaking Mojave Desert.
He's like, I drove all week and I'm walking now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. I think the championship should absolutely rotate. I'm not opposed to even seeing it back in Miami at some point. I just want to be careful if we start saying Phoenix is mid. If we go to Bristol one year and it's like the All-Star race a couple years ago, it's kind of mid. I'm just worried, guys. You know how NASCAR thinks. Daytona finale, and I don't want to jump that.
I think that's happening.
It'll happen eventually.
I don't want to jump that shark. No,
it'll happen.
I am staying. I said this like 2 years ago.
It's
I'm
not
staying on it. It's gonna happen by 2030.
No, it's not.
Eric, it's gonna happen.
2030.
It's the natural progression the sport has been going in. The chaos they want, it fits.
Chaos.
It's perfect. It's perfect for this format. You can have literally the guy running in 30th who's fourth on the final four win the championship and the race in one corner.
God, you're giving them too many ideas, Jarrett. I don't like this.
I'll say this. People think that people running NASCAR aren't smart. Those are smart people. They've already thought that stuff through. They just got to figure out the right path to get there. I guarantee you they've had that on the board.
And I'm sure they talked about it, but I'm saying they're smart. I think they're smart people because they haven't done it yet. They haven't given it a shot.
And then you also, I mean, I hope I'm wrong on this one, but I mean, especially if ESPN comes in, hey, what can we do that'll spice up our other racing product that, and get it on the level of F1? What's a name we can do? Daytona or Talladega, one of the two. We can make that the finale.
I can see it now. 4 laps to go here at Daytona to decide the championship. Your current leader is Chase Elliott, but here comes Cody Ware on the inside. He throws a bad block. Oh no, I'm gonna crash. All 4 involved.
Oh, I can see it, man. I can see it, and I don't want to. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I will literally eat crow on this show if I am wrong, like by 2030.
What does that even mean, to eat crow?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I've always wondered
That-
where
I don't know,
like,
So
saying came from.
that ate crow, and I know this because a lot of Vols fans had to do this weekend. When we talked too
All
much
roads
about
lead
it,
to Balls and Bowman, man.
we all talked too much hype about our team, and we had to eat crow because we said things that our team couldn't perform on.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what does it literally mean to eat
It-
crow?
it-
Are we eating? Are we like Ozzy Osbourne ripping the head
Yeah.
off a bat on stage? Like,
Yes.
Prince of Darkness, man. Prince of Darkness. You know,
Yeah.
take me out of the ball.
I don't get it. I don't
Basically,
understand it.
basically, it's when your mouth says too many things that you can't catch a check on.
I just want to know where.
Hey,
why are we eating
it's all
birds?
good.
Why are we?
They're still top 5 though, Danny.
Because
You
a
still,
bird is
you
a
can
word.
still win.
Darian, I saw you change your username back. What was that about the Rams?
Yeah, it's just Rams 3 and 5. Yeah, I changed it back. I didn't want to remind myself anymore,
Oh,
but
that's okay.
But no, anyways, yeah, like they're eventually gonna have like a rotating championship. I feel like
Yeah.
the fans want
I
that,
like-
the drivers want that.
If-
The only issue I have with it is I feel like it'll probably be restricted to just ISC tracks
Yeah,
in the
well,
very
yeah.
beginning.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I think, and Jared made this point as well. It's like if they can get SMI involved between Vegas, which already exists and is already solid, and then the incoming Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, like I think SMI is going to have some pretty good candidates here before too long.
Imagine this. NASCAR's 100th anniversary season comes around. Martinsville can be the cutoff race. Why not? As an olive branch of the fans we lost 50 years before, we're going to have North Wilkesboro for the 100th season and founding NASCAR track 2 in a row finish the season.
And not
think
a-
that'd be
Do you realize how that's not that long, but it is kind of long from now?
25 years.
We're about to have a 75-year anniversary next year.
Mhm.
I mean, hold on. How old would I be?
2048, my friend. 2048 is
Oh my
2048.
I'll be 52 years old.
Damn.
Imagine we're still doing this show when I'm 52
Hey, we're
years
5
old.
we're 5 years in, so we have some time left.
We're 10% of the way there.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we can start to wrap up our Cup Series conversation by discussing the ratings real quick. So TV ratings, Phoenix Championship was on NBC, got a 1.86 rating, 3.213 million viewers. That's flat viewership, almost identical to last year, but actually down 6% in the ratings, mainly because the key demo, they were down 5% in the key demo this year. That hurt the rating. Note, we had this in our notes. The NFL was also down this Sunday. So I'd be really curious to see what NASCAR's, like, I think it's called audience share would be, or I think there's a different word for it. But the percentage of TVs that are actually turned on, was it a higher or similar percentage that were tuned into NASCAR this year? It could have just been a general, just people weren't watching sports this weekend. That could have been the simple
Well, also the
explanation.
NFL, they only had like 2 after the or 2 evening games, I think too.
So, but
that's
even
interesting.
even the noon games, like I looked and they were down like I think 4 million viewers from this weekend a year
Wow.
ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so it could have just been something as simple as that. Xfinity was down slightly, but trucks were actually up 5%. Their ratings, they got 627,000 viewers Friday night, late Friday night. So that's pretty cool. This you were reading off some stats before we went live, Jarrett. You were going over a chart. I think it was more about full season ratings because this year's ratings were actually the highest. Like if we look at full season, Fox and NBC, race 1 through 36, this was actually the best rated season on a per race basis since 2018. But you were mentioning that cable races were up and it was NBC network races that seemed to be down. I don't know, like what can be done, if anything, just real quick to like boost interest in the championship race? Because I know it goes up against the NFL. It's at the heart of the NFL schedule. But is there anything more that can be done to try and start digging those ratings higher?
Well, I think one thing is when you look at the biggest dip, it is the first 4 races of the playoffs, the first 3 weekends of the NFL. And when you look at basically everything, I mean, yes, and I know this is more of a generalized talk here, but when you're looking to fans who are diehards, we're going to watch no matter what. But when you're looking at people that move the meter, those who are more casual NASCAR fans, when they're looking at it, championship wise, does it really matter if they watch until Talladega? Because that's where stuff picks up again, is Talladega onwards, whether they have all of them on NBC or not. My thing is, you want to keep this format? Fine. I've accepted it's never going away. It's like, I'll accept that. Like, it's realistic. But if you can keep the same format, disqualify better drivers, and don't spend basically 3 months deciding a champion or 2.5 months deciding one, people are going to check out at that point with the NFL coming back and with the MLB playoffs coming in, NBA starting up. Get to the point. Like, that's my thing, is like, it's kind of almost like a writing class. Get to the point. Don't give me all this fluff. I don't need Austin Dillon to qualify at a Daytona win just to get eliminated 3 weeks later. I don't care. That made no difference in the season except for like the Daytona race was crazier.
That's fair. One of my biggest
12
gripes,
guys qualify and do 7 playoff races. Quick, short, to the point, but you have the same drama you had otherwise.
I actually don't hate that idea. One of my biggest gripes, I was going to say, with like the NBA playoffs is they go on for 2.5 months. And like, I don't need to see the undefeated Golden State Warriors play the 8 seed Minnesota Timberwolves for 2 weeks.
Or the
like,
playing games.
I don't need, now they have a little tournament. Like, they've like 20 something out of the 30 NBA teams make the playoffs. We joke about too many NASCAR drivers make the playoffs. It's like 16 out of 32. It's like 22 out of 32 in the NBA these days. It's absurd. So yeah, I don't hate that idea, Jarrett. Get to the point, short and sweet, 7 weeks. I actually don't hate that idea. I think that's worth exploring going forward. I don't want to see them overhaul this format unless they go straight up back to the Winston style format, because I just think, you're praying over there. I just think the longest that they
better do a lot of praying,
the
Jared.
longer that they commit to one format, the more legitimacy it will earn over time. And so I think they either have to commit or go back to the most simplified version. They don't really have any other options, in my opinion.
My thing is you look at, like, and I know NASCAR fans hate hearing this back and forth comparison of Formula One, but Formula One didn't have the greatest championship fight this year, and other than like the last 3 weeks, have been getting tons and tons of young people watching, like basically the same and sometimes more than NASCAR. So it's almost, in my opinion, half the time when it comes to bringing in the audience that NASCAR wants to bring in, which they have not hidden, is a younger audience, is a much more, in like city kind of audience. It's not necessarily even the product on track, is the presentation too. Like, I'm sorry, but no, most people that I grew up with living near cities in Northern Illinois aren't going to give 2 craps about the fact that you got Joe Schmo country singer who was good 10 years ago before a race. You know what? You want to move the needle? Yeah, I know that core fans aren't going to like it either, but you want to get new people going to races? Have a week. No, that's 25 years. That's even worse. No. You know what? You want to move the needle? You want people to be like, oh, damn, that maybe I'll go to that NASCAR race. I could see the concert afterwards. Get Taylor Swift there. Get somebody who does not.
His laugh.
Hey, say what you want. She's the biggest.
Yeah, she sells out.
afford Taylor Swift?
I don't think so.
They can afford $50 million for Chicago.
You know what? That's a good point. Because also too, I remember at this year's Charlotte Roval race, one of their selling points was, rapping star Nelly will be there. I'm like, dude, Nelly has been relevant in so long. Yeah, I do agree though. Like, get some more relevant artists. Or
y'all laughing. I see people in the chat there saying that's stupid, but you know what?
It would sell.
And it brought people in. They had concert after the race at Gateway, and there were tons of people there, and half of them, it looked like, weren't even race fans. Like, they didn't have any gear. They didn't look like they knew that they were even like at a racetrack, but they showed up. So do something different. Try different things that don't alienate your core fan base with the product on track. Because for most of the people that are actually watching week in and week out, they're not going to be watching the pre or post race concert. They're going to be watching the race itself. Don't screw with that. Have a good racing product, and then have great stuff for people at the track.
Yeah, I just, when I lived in Austin and we had the Formula One race every year, and this is before Drive for Survive, the billboards around town would be Imagine Dragons, Britney Spears, and there'd be a tiny little F1 car in the corner. That was like the way the billboards looked.
I've had some friends send me some pictures. They're already getting the banners and the billboards out for the F1 race, which is a year away out in Las Vegas. I don't know.
boy.
They haven't said who's going to be performing there yet, but I assume it'll be an A-lister.
You know what? It's what a lot of short tracks have done to survive. They've gotten, concert festivals at these short tracks to shore up different parts of the budget, and it's made like there's certain short tracks that I used to live near that were on death's door. Then they bring in more concert festivals and stuff on top of the racing product they already have, and it's kept them afloat.
Yeah, just look at Las Vegas. I mean, obviously they're SMI owned, but I mean, just EDC is the biggest, music festival around.
That's my thing is NASCAR just brings in has-beens. That's what they do. They bring in people that someone under the age of 40 would be excited to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not actually opposed to your Taylor Swift idea. That's a good point about them spending $50 million on that Chicago race. I think you can rent an hour of Taylor Swift's time for $50 million or less, probably. Yeah, I'll go for it. Why not? Someone
Buy
in
a
the chat,
celebrity's time.
we had a few people in the chat actually saying BTS. So there we go. Bring
yeah.
K-pop to Martinsville Speedway. That would be hilarious.
Oh, that'd be a clash of culture.
Yeah,
I love that. They should do that.
If we're gonna have them, we need to get some kind of like Korean snack company or something like that to sponsor a car or something like that.
Penguin Camp brings up in here, back when Green Day was huge with American Idiot, they had them play before the 2005 Daytona 500.
Yeah, I remember back in the early 2000s, they would have these like different rock bands showing up too. It was like they were sort of straying away from the old country singers back in those days.
Bush Clash was advertised as a halftime show, so
yeah.
Who's doing the Bush Clash this year? Have they said?
Ooh.
I don't know, but you know what? I like what Dalton says here. Why not Post Malone?
Yes.
That seems like a no-brainer.
Fun.
That seems like a no-brainer if they can get him to do it.
Yes.
On that note, we want to hear what you guys thought of Phoenix this past weekend. What time is it, Darian?
Oh, yes. For the final time in season 5 of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, it's time for the poll, the famous Iceberg poll.
Yes. So
What do you got, Jarrett?
Well, I asked what people thought about the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series finale. And we had 16,500 votes, so pretty good way to end off the year. And we had 11% say it was a great race, and 24% say it was a good race, so 35% overall were pretty positive about this one. 45% said it was average, or as Darian would like to say, mid. 12% said below average. 9% said this was a bad race, which means 21% were in disapproval of this race. The first comment was from Denny Delivers. Take your guess.
Meme.
He put Joey Logano wins the war, ... again. And then it goes a winless Martin Truex Jr. and a little question mark next to it. So
Rough.
Yeah. Looking at the highest voted ones from this chat, you got Eric Hoffman, who put 36 races, 5 new winners, 19 total winners, over 100 million views, 1 awesome season. So that was good. Also brings up, paying condolences to Coy Gibbs, and then also the stuff at the end with Eminem's leaving, Kurt retiring, that it is kind of bittersweet.
Yeah.
Creative Name says most anticlimactic way of the season that it could have ended. I will say, as an Elliott fan, Ross did nothing wrong. I was even rooting for him after Elliott's chances went down the toilet.
Yeah, for as crazy and chaotic as the season has been at times, it was very odd to have it end just like so midly.
Midly.
Yeah, I don't know. I made up that. Sorry.
Just a little bit.
Jackson here says, wasn't a fan of Joey winning, but that was a pretty good first in-person race for me. One heck of a 21st birthday present. Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday.
Let's see what else we got here. Travis says, great race. Glad I was there to see it. Great job, Joey.
Yeah, I'm sure in person it was fun to see.
Always a little bit better when you're at a race. So
Yeah.
A little biased to that.
Mm-hmm.
Another Travis here says, Joey got it done, and that's all that matters to me. Great race and a great year, 22 and 22.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool that happened. He got his second championship in 2022 in the 22 car.
Mm-hmm.
After winning 2 races in the playoffs and leading the second most number of laps. I know all these numbers because I looked them up for my video today. So it was a lot of twos.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Two. let's see. Anthony here says it kind of feels like a sucker punch ending with Ty winning. Oh, and then of course with what happened with Coy that night, which again, condolences to the Gibbs
The
family
entire
on
Gibbs
that one.
family, yeah.
Yeah.
John Deary fan. I only say it like that to mess with you.
Season 1 memes. Yeah. Missed it.
725 says, I give it an 8 out of 10. Definitely a wild season for me. 19 winners, a lot of wrecks with 2 flips, which did test the next gen safety on flips. Good point. The next gen does have safety kinks that did affect the season, but it will hopefully be ironed out by 2023. As I'm likely, and then says, and I'm likely heading to the Ally 400 in 2023. Well,
Very nice.
there.
We'll see. We'll hopefully see you there.
Yeah.
Speaking of going to races next year, so I am going to the Wilkesboro race, and I'm getting, which by the way, Eric, I do have to talk to you about that afterwards, the logistics on this. But I have like stapled out what flights I'll be doing, and I realize in the span of like 4 days, I'm going to be flying a combined like 18 hours.
Oh,
you're going to Montana.
I'm going
for a
from
marathon,
Tennessee.
right?
Yeah, so I'm going to Tennessee from Tennessee to Montana on Thursday.
You know, you can run anywhere, right? You don't have to go to Montana.
Well, I'm trying to get every state. I'm getting every state. This will be 5 for me. But yeah, I'm running a marathon Saturday. Then roughly 5 hours after I finish the marathon, I'll fly from Montana to Chicago to Charlotte, go to Wilkesboro, and then the next morning fly to Tennessee.
You're a maniac.
I know. I just I like thought of that, and I'm like, that is a lot crazier than I initially thought it would be. But I figured people would find it interesting.
The logistics do sound quite befuddling.
Yes, Claudia, I am going to fly.
I like that because you literally drive everywhere.
That's true. Yeah, you know, picturing you. I can't picture you going through TSA, Jarrett. That just doesn't add up in my head. Take your shoes off, sir. Sir, shoes off.
I remember.
Go like
I remember I actually remember explaining all the TSA stuff to Jarrett before he flew and stuff. He's like, "All right, what is this? What is this?" I'm like, "All right, so you check your bag in here, and this is where you go in through."
Dude, this is X-ray technology.
Yeah, I've flown twice in my life, and I'm actually flying to Minneapolis in a couple weeks. So that'll give me my
Jared's like, this is the weirdest gas station ever.
Yeah,
are we going up? Whoa, what's happening?
They're charging me they're making me take my shoes off and then putting me in a thing to X-ray me. I don't understand where I'm at.
It's kind of fun, honestly. I get like a little thrill going through those little like tubes where you have to get your little X-ray. You know, when I was actually at the Phoenix airport, I looked up at the little logo and it said Leidos, and I thought, so that's what that Bubba Wallace sponsor is.
That's what that is.
So when you guys do fly, what do you guys do when a plane initially gets that big burst of speed? Do you like to
I love it.
I love it. It's a good feeling.
I'm like this. I cannot look sideways until I'm up, until we're rising in the air, or else it'll just make me feel sick.
So what I try to do is I try to find a good song on Spotify, and I try to sing it.
Yes.
I'm usually listening to some rock music, like I don't know. Just some kind of rock that's like boom, 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 or something like that.
I'm trying to time the drop to when I think we're gonna take off. You'll hear the captain come over and say, "Flight attendants, please be seated for departure." And I'm like, "Okay, we got a minute. Let me find a good song. Okay, let's start it now." And I get so hyped if it times up good.
I get this big goofy grin on my face and Willem Dafoe eyes from just yes, this is awesome.
Here's actually a good one. Freebird Solo says James play games.
Ooh, I hadn't thought about that. Good call.
I gotta give that one. Why is my brother calling me in the middle of this show?
He's probably wondering what the lowest voted comments on our poll on the Iceberg poll was this week.
Lucky for him, I have it pulled up. I'm not gonna let him answer because knowing him, he'll try and
he'll demonetize us. Do I need to hit the mute button?
No, he'll
Let me just put the thumbnail app. I have the thumbnail. The fans are seeing a thumbnail just in case we have technical difficulties or somebody gets naked suddenly. I can just put this up in. A little behind the scenes here.
Oh, yeah. Like Dalton says in the super chat, I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man.
Thank you for the super chats. We'll get to them shortly. Appreciate it.
Let's get to the bottom comments here. We have And I did check them while we were having this conversation, so I can actually say them on air, I think. Lucas and Garbage Plate both had the same comment. Boring. Except one had an exclamation mark. Curtis decided to expand on his boring comment by saying, from start to finish, find a better track with some banking. She-Rank said, meh. And Cameron said, on to Daytona, where Ty Gibbs will win the 500.
Ooh,
an
all
early
right,
prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that was another fun season of the poll.
Yes,
Nice.
and that'll conclude this season's edition of the famous Iceberg Poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
And then I guess we can kind of just gloss over this next segment before we get into the Xfinity and truck race. We don't have to spend too much time on this bit. But the pick points for 2022.
Oh, yes.
Finishing in fifth. I think everyone deserves a little spotlight here. Finishing in fifth place, 73 points off the lead. Darian Gilliam. Woo,
Oh, man.
woo.
Hey, you know what? It's definitely a down year considering the fact that last year I was only 1 point away from a podium, and I thought I could get it this year, but nah. But hey, at least I was closer compared to whoever finished last year. Who did? Oh yeah, that was Danny. That's right.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Well, speaking
I was like 200 points back last year.
Not even 100 back. I'll
of
take it.
Danny in fourth place, minus 63. We have Danny B Talks. Woohoo!
I'll take it after last year. I'm finishing fourth, right where my sports team should be.
In just a few years' time, you'll be in first place at this rate. You're moving up the ladder every year.
Yeah.
Do you notice I just said my sports team? I'm not saying the word.
I see you changed your Zoom call as well. In third place, finishing on the podium for the second year in a row, I guess, our defending champion, Jarrett Lundberg. Woohoo!
Hey, I have the same average finish as Eric now.
Great. Yes. Speaking of Eric, consistency is key. Let me put it this way. Wasn't I runner-up last year as well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Second place, the bridesmaid yet again, me.
Yeah.
So chat, congratulations. Even with the Eric Almirola.
Hey, let me have my moment. Hold on. Give me okay.
No,
okay.
You got to read Blue Jimmy's comment here.
What did he say? I didn't see it. I see
Eric, what happened?
Yeah, it didn't go up. So congratulations, chat. You guys won the pick points for 2022. You guys collected 604 total points. I was 8 points back. Jarrett was 62. Danny 63. Jarrett 73. So we had a good battle going these last few weeks. Y'all pulled ahead, or I was ahead over the summer. Y'all caught me, passed me up, pulled ahead. I caught back up. And it literally came down to the final weekend. I was 0 for 3 on my championship picks. I had Chandler Smith, I had Gregson and Bell. 0 for 3. I don't know. You guys, I think y'all had Zane, right? Wasn't that the big difference maker?
I had
Zane.
I had Majeski.
I had Zane.
I think the chat had Zane, and the chat may have had Chastain as well, right? And he finished ahead of Bell. So that's what really did me in this weekend. Congratulations, chat. Well played. Well done. It was a good fun segment all year long.
Chat, welcome to the club of being a champion in this.
They won by picking Eric Almirola to win a race.
Yeah, like dude, even with IDK's little troll thing there, they still won the championship.
Very impressive. Very good job, chat.
But hey, at least they didn't pick who did they pick last year?
LePage.
LePage. At least they didn't pick him this year.
Hey, you know what? We made an example out of that moment, and they have been on it ever since.
Yeah. It's only been up since the Kevin LePage incident.
Yeah.
That we don't speak of. Well, thanks for playing along, chat. We'll see you again in February for the third season of the Pick Points. Let's talk about the other two races. I know we've gone over an hour already. This is kind of going long, but we did spend a lot of time on the Cup race. Let's talk about the Xfinity race next. Before we get into the champion, I have a couple things I want to show you guys. So obviously, I was fortunate enough to have a car in this race, black and yellow car driven by Brennan Poole, which was pretty great. They sent me home with some souvenirs I want to show you guys. I showed y'all one before the show, these three right here. I have this first one in a bag because it stanks still. It has not been cleaned. But Brennan Poole
Oh.
gave me the fire suit afterwards. Let me wait.
He
hold on.
signed it. I see he signed
did.
it.
Oh
Oh,
god, it
oh,
smells
oh.
terrible. Oh jeez. Yes.
Okay. I'm just saying. I saw the picture of you two side by side. There's no way you can fit in that.
Oh no, he's
No.
like 5'9". I'm like 6'7", or almost a foot apart.
I might could squeeze into
Jared
that.
could squeeze. It smells rancid. He did not. He gave it to me. He came out of the hauler 20 minutes after the race.
But
He changed and handed it to me.
It's signed. How do you clean that?
I don't.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I think I'm just gonna Febreze it to death or something. I don't know.
Just do that. Just do that.
Um,
Might as well.
I have one other thing. No, I didn't wash it. Sorry, people in the chat are asking why I wouldn't clean it because it's signed, and I don't want to risk.
It's
messing
more.
up
It's
that.
more authentic.
Yes,
that
oh, God,
way.
I need to
Yeah.
put it back in this bag. It's destroying my studio with the smell. Sorry, Brendan. I don't mean to put you on blast like this. They did give me one other thing I want to show you guys. I'm gonna do my best to show it to y'all, but they gave me. I didn't even know this was getting made. They gave me the pit wall banner. Oh, it's like 15 feet long. I'm like trying to unroll some of it.
Were you
For
able to
those-
fit that in the bag
I-
through like TSA? and
It's
stuff?
getting a little wrinkly, but yes, I was able to squeeze it into my suitcase. Yeah, this is it. It's huge.
For those listening right now on the audio version only, Eric is getting consumed by this pit sign. Oh, and
well,
he just
now
used
he's
it.
unconsumed.
He just destroyed
by
it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's. I rolled it out on my floor, and it was like a red carpet. It was just.
I was about to say it'd be just like a rug at that
It
point.
basically was. So I just wanted to show you guys that because I thought it was pretty hilarious.
But
We also had a bunch
no.
of hero cards made that we gave away to people, to fans. So that was pretty
Dude,
cool.
that was
Which-
like
which-
time.
you can still give away some of those next season at the out of the group tent.
I believe
Yeah.
we still have a good handful left. I don't have all of them in my possession, but
You
there are
need,
some.
need to get a dual autograph on them.
But
Yeah,
yeah, that was one of the more funner races to watch just off the fact that your car was in there and stuff. Every time, I would see the leaders go around. I'm not roasting or anything. Every time I would see the leaders go around and I'm like, yay, there.
Yeah,
Like, there's the car.
we got some TV time getting lapped for the most part.
Oh, and the thumbnail. You're on the
Yeah,
Fox
you
Sports
made a thumbnail.
I want to give a shout out to Ford Martin. He made that possible. He didn't tell me he was going to do that, but I appreciated that. Putting the out of the groove car on the Fox Sports thumbnail. That was kind
That
of
is
cool.
awesome.
Brennan did
Yeah.
dodge a couple of wrecks. He got a little bit of front end damage on one. What you going to do? You're mid pack in an Xfinity race. People are all jacked up, but made it to the finish. 29th place. Not bad. He said afterwards he struggled with just loose all weekend long, but it was a really cool experience. I have a video coming out either probably Friday of this week, probably here in a couple days, that will document the sponsor experience, so to speak, a little more in depth. But at some point might do like a live stream or some sort of Q&A, AMA kind of thing where we kind of go into a little more detail. Obviously, there are things I just can't say that people have asked me 100 times at this point, like how much did you spend? I just for
You can't say
different
that.
reasons,
Don't
I
ask
cannot-
a man
Well,
that.
I can't
I-
say
I-
exactly.
I have a question I've wanted to know since Saturday.
Okay.
How's your chin doing?
It's doing okay.
It's taped up a little bit there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
did people seriously ask you that? Like how much it costs? and
Oh yeah,
stuff?
I get comments, and I understand it's like honest curiosity and
Oh, but not in person. I thought in person.
I
someone
don't know if
asked you
anyone
that.
in person. Maybe
Okay,
maybe
that'd be
some people,
different.
I don't remember. But yeah, mostly just tweets and DMs and comments. And no, I totally get it. I think it's just people who are genuinely curious. And yeah, it's just like go back to when Marcus Lemonis was publicly offering teams $15,000 to run his paint scheme. Like most Truck Series teams typically ask for much more from sponsors. And so when this
Mhm.
public number 15,000 got out, I think a lot of teams are upset because it made it look like a sponsorship was less valuable. And I'm not saying that I got like, a super cheap deal on this JD Motorsports deal, but I don't know what they typically sell sponsorship for. So I don't want to risk, maybe I got a lower deal than some than a lot of other companies would. I have no idea, but I don't want to risk it. And there's also just, I'm like legally, I just can't say it. So there's moral reasons and then actual like reasons why I can't like specifically get into it. But what I can say is that I did not spend my money on the whole thing. What am I trying to say? We had other sponsors help pay for it.
You had partners.
Yeah,
There
I
were-
did.
and investors is the word.
My bank
Yeah.
account did not call me and say, what is this? What did you just spend all this money on? So that part I can say. I did not spend all that money out of pocket to sponsor a NASCAR race car, but it did cost a little bit, and it was worth every penny because it was an awesome
Now-
experience. And I
and
appreciate everyone who's all the kind words and everyone who came up and talked to me about it this weekend.
Yeah.
remember, Eric, at the end of the day, for the money you did spend, Tax write-off, baby.
The IRS is
also-
going to have some questions for me in March or April, whenever it is.
And also, this might be a little too early to ask. Would you be willing to do this again in the near
yeah.
future? Or
Oh, I don't know about near. I don't know exactly when. I never thought this would be possible. But the fact that it happened and it went as fairly seamlessly as it did, I don't see why something similar wouldn't be possible at some point. We'll see. I don't know for sure. You never know.
If Out of the Groove becomes a 1 million subscriber channel, you'll be calling up a team and say, "Hey, get Matt K in the car. I don't care what he costs."
Yeah,
and full-time funding for an entire season.
Don't say full time, but give him a car for one race.
I like the idea that someday I'll have the money to put down. Like, what was the sponsor that like forced Eric Almirola to get out of the Xfinity car years ago? Because it was supposed to be Hamlin.
Yeah.
Crap!
Was
I
it
can't
Sport
remember.
Clips?
No,
was
it
it?
wasn't Sport Clips.
No.
It was that Rockwell or whatever.
Yeah.
Rockwell.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
like the idea
Thank
that
you.
one day I'll have that much pull that I can say, "Hey, put Matt Kenseth in the car or no deal."
And all of a sudden, it's like this is Junior Motorsports. We have drivers. Put them in.
No, that
We
Justin
want
Allgaier
Matt.
dude. No, he's done. He's washed. Put this guy in right now. I got the money to go for
Oh,
it.
you want some dude named Dale Jr. running in that car? Matt Kenseth beat him for Rookie of the Year. Put him in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if I have enough money to buy Dale Jr. out of his own seat?
just buy the 8 and have
Or
Dale
no,
take his driver.
how
and then
about
show-
this? Let run a contest and let the chat pick the driver.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Congratulations, Kevin LePage.
Yeah. Well, they'll pick some obscure one out of
no.
nowhere.
Yeah.
But here
Okay,
comes Eric
we're-
Almirola.
We're having way too much fun in this, and we need to talk about the Xfinity.
Yeah,
Championship.
sorry. I just wanted to show those crazy things. I didn't expect to be cramming an entire pit banner in my suitcase, but here we are. I just want to share that with y'all.
Blue Jimmy said, "Yeah, bring Todd Blue."
Hey,
Oh, my God.
oddly enough, Todd Blue is the champion. That's who Todd Blue
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that originally I don't remember what the context was, but we missed it. Someone mistakenly called Ty Gibbs or jokingly called Ty Gibbs Todd Blue. Was it you, Danny? You were like making a comparison.
It was me. I was saying like he's good. He could be named Todd Blue, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what are these like season 2 memes now? We're going back.
going-
well,
on.
it's last year because we.
Oh
we
yeah,
talked about
last
Tigers
year.
before.
That's right. Duh,
we're,
that's
we're
right.
going
yeah.
way back.
Yeah.
Before we get into this though, like it is worth noting, obviously the context
Yes.
post race. Ty Gibbs is your Xfinity Series champion. He got to celebrate with his family, obviously his team owner, grandfather Joe Gibbs, and also his father Coy Gibbs, who we then found out Sunday morning, I guess, or early Sunday afternoon, had tragically passed away that night. So I mean, cannot imagine what the emotions that the Gibbs family and Ty in particular had to be going through. The elation,
Absolutely.
well, really, I would say the down of kind of being the villain all week after what happened at Martinsville, to then the high of running one of his best races ever. I thought he was very clean, very fair, and won it straight up. Had a fast car, great team victory. That high to then like the all-time devastating low of finding out that news that night or the next morning, whenever he actually found out.
Eric, not trying to like dive into this too much, but I mean, what was the atmosphere like in the garage that morning? Were people aware of what happened?
Yeah, well, so obviously I'm not as cued in as folks like Bob or Jeff Gluck, but like I was in the garage and Ty Gibbs's car, the 23 car, was the only car still in his garage stall. Like there was no, I think it was Brock Beard actually that tweeted it. He's the first person I saw note it that, hey, everyone else is on the grid. Why is the 23 car here? Pretty quickly, journalists, media, some fans started to kind of gather around trying to figure out what was up. And that's when it was, reported that, hey, there's going to be a driver change. It's not going to be Ty Gibbs. There's a family emergency. And at that point, a lot of unhealthy speculation, of course, on social media, even within the garage there. But yeah, it was just definitely a somber tone because everyone knew at the very least it was a family emergency. That's a serious thing. And it was serious enough to keep Ty from racing. So I just think everyone was very respectful, especially all the media there were very respectful. They tried to give space while still asking questions and doing their jobs. But it was definitely, it cast a shadow over the rest of the weekend for sure. So I kind of just wanted to open up this Xfinity conversation before we talk about how great Ty Gibbs was. Thoughts and prayers are with Ty and his entire family after that horrible news.
Yeah, that's awful. Coy Gibbs, I mean, like he was supposed to be like, whenever Joe Gibbs, like, someday decided not to run a NASCAR team anymore, he was supposed to be, the next in line to to take it over too. And he was also a former Stanford linebacker for 4 years too. I didn't know
He
that
was a
too.
coach
Looking it
as
up.
well with
Yeah,
Washington
and he
at some
also
point,
yeah.
and he also, you know, he drove in the truck and Xfinity series, then called Busch series at the time, you know, for a few years and stuff. Didn't quite work out there, but he was meant to be in a more, you know, in a team role in some sort of way. And seemed like, I mean, it's, you know, obviously all the Toyota drivers were obviously upset by this too. And yeah, you know, just, you know, props to all those teams for pulling through, especially the 20 team with all those circumstances and, you know, battling for a championship, you know. But yeah, Ty Gibbs, I can't, that's just life, man, in general. I mean, it's just like 1 minute you're up and then the next, you don't know what's going to happen.
And it just goes to, you know, show you and everything, doesn't matter who you are, you know, take comfort in all those good times you have with your family, because you never know when could be the last day.
Yeah, family and friends.
I can't imagine how I was, you know, thinking 5 years ago, because I'd been the same age. I couldn't imagine I can't imagine losing my dad now. And
yeah,
I feel so like I don't know what to exactly say. There's nothing you can really say that would make anything better in that regard. I will say Coy was actually the first person I ever got to ask a question in the media center with ever.
Whoa,
so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was like I was thinking about that, because the first time I ever got to be let into any kind of media, and I believe it was actually after Ty won a race too, like because they had the owner in there.
Yeah.
I you know, after so much of like this season, what Ty has went through, and then this week overall, it's just I'm glad that at least it's the off season, so the family can have the privacy.
They need this time, and I know we're gonna be having champions award ceremonies here in Nashville here soon. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Gibbs family doesn't choose to celebrate that. We'll wait and see on that. But you know, I just wish them nothing but the best in this off season.
Yeah, that's about as much as I can say at this point. There's
absolutely, it's an unimaginable tragedy that's it's difficult to fully comprehend. I think even if you're going through it the way the Gibbs family is right now, it's just difficult to understand. But on that somber note, something happy did happen to the Gibbs family. Ty Gibbs is an Xfinity Series champion. He bested the 3 junior motorsports cars and drivers that he was competing with all week long. Noah Gragson maybe playing mind games a little bit, just saying straight up how he just doesn't like Ty. They don't get along. He's just saying what everyone else is too afraid to say or whatever. But I mean, I guess we can keep this pretty simple, because I know we've kind of gone over time. Jarrett, I mean, I know it wasn't a popular win at the time, lots of boos raining down, but I think Ty Gibbs is a deserving champion. You can hate what he did at Martinsville and still say he deserves this. As I think it was between him and Gregson. Gregson maybe had a slightly better year statistically, but Gibbs was right there step for step most of the season. What do you think?
I had, I think last week when we talked about the whole Martinsville stuff, that like even prefacing before we even talked about it, I think all of us had said like the kid is a hell of a talent. Like he might have the best car out there, but you've seen drivers before that have the best car out there and they don't utilize it, or they run like 10th. I thought that was his most impressive win ever, to have Noah Gragson, which I will say, this also, I was impressed with Noah, how he was able to change his lineup through that finish and be able to run him down, even with the lap traffic, everything like that. And I'm also will say, I'm glad that, because for a split second, I thought Sam Mayer was going to do something that he shouldn't.
He didn't give him too much room though. But yeah,
he didn't. But he raced him hard. Yeah. But he didn't race him. He raced him clean, and that's what I can ask with it. It honestly, what it reminds me of is the battle, vice versa, I believe, between Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs at Pocono.
Yeah,
like that's what it reminds me of, and I hope so badly that both of them are successful enough in Cup to have a battle in Cup like that, because that was a masterclass of Xfinity driving on Saturday.
Do you guys remember back in 2016 when we saw Kyle Larson get his first win at Michigan? He had to outduel Chase Elliott to get that. I would love to see a situation down the road, whether it's next year and years prior, where we see a Cup battle between Ty Gibbs, and Noah Gragson coming down
I
too,
love
because
it.
that would be very epic in the Cup Series.
Yeah.
And really, the other championship 4 contenders too. I mean, what more can you say? I mean, Justin Allgaier put up a much better fight than I think a lot of us were
He was good.
anticipating. You know, yeah,
He was,
I mean,
he was right there with them.
He was holding off Ty Gibbs at certain
that
points during the race.
racing.
It was really impressive.
At the same time, though, you talk about Justin Allgaier. Man, when is he finally going to get
Yeah,
it? He's becoming like Denny Hamlin of the Xfinity
basically.
Series.
I think he's like 0 for 5 in championship fours now.
He's Denny Light.
I mean,
he just faded.
You keep saying, okay, well, this round's going from Xfinity to Cup. Maybe he can get it. Nope. Now, no.
And you know what? It was looking promising at first, but then he just faded in those final 25 to 20 laps there.
It's kind of like what Steve Letarte talked about a couple weeks back. It's like where you're owed nothing in NASCAR. Like no one owes you a thing, and it might seem like that like a person's owed a win. You know, Allgaier might be at this level for 5-7 more years, and it seems like there's always someone in the pipeline that's going to come back and take it from him.
Did we just make Eric so mad he just left?
Yeah. There's always going to be someone a little bit better than him, unfortunately, in the Xfinity Series that pops up and steals his thunder.
I hope at one point he does, but just as a driver in that series overall, he fits the role Denny Hamlin fits right now. But I'll say this about those 3 drivers in particular: the 7, the 9, and the 54 racing up front. Like it was amazing watching them switch lines, try to find the clean air, try to find the grip, try to find the leftover grip strip from last year. That was, in my opinion, the most entertaining race of the weekend. And I don't know how you can translate anything from Xfinity to Cup nowadays, but whatever worked because that was a worthy championship race, whereas I don't think the other 2 races this weekend were.
We'll talk about Truck Simulator. I thought it was close, but no, Xfinity was the show. And sorry, I had to dip for a second because my eyes were tearing up from the smell of that fire suit. I had to go put it in the bag in the other room. It's rough.
Did it get sprayed by a skunk or something?
I don't know. It's just it's been cramped in a moist box basically for the last 2 days. Anyway, sorry. I missed the last couple of things y'all said, but I agree. The Xfinity race was probably the best race of the week, and congratulations to Ty Gibbs. Noah Gragson, so close. He's another guy. He's been to is this his 2nd or 3rd straight championship 4 appearance? I'm not exactly sure, but I know he's been close.
2nd, I think.
He goes into his Cup ride next year without an Xfinity championship, and we've talked about how the Junior Motorsports 9 has a history of champions. Elliott, Reddick. I mean, Gregson's not going to be on that list. So I don't know.
But Josh Berry, though, what happened to him, though, man? He just
pushed it too hard. I mean, he was the 4th best team in car all race, and to his credit, he kept it up there with them. But that last restart just pushed it too hard in the pack, and ultimately, I think he fell back to 25th and made it back up to like 14th or 12th or something. Like it was really impressive what he did.
So here is a fun fact here. Next year is going to be kind of like I guess what 2020 was supposed to be, because in 2019 for the Xfinity Series we had the big 3. They battled it out for the championship. Plus Allgaier was there. We're losing 3 key figures of the Xfinity Series from this year. Ty Gibbs. Well, we're going to say likely Ty Gibbs at this point. It's not confirmed, but likely Ty Gibbs. Noah Gragson confirmed. AJ Allmendinger confirmed. All supposed to be going to the Cup Series next year. That was 19 of the wins this year for the Xfinity Series. Was those 3 guys alone? So, and if you factor in other guys who were just like Cup drivers coming in and taking a win, majority of this year's wins were next year's Cup Series guys.
It's going to be an opportunity for some of these younger drivers to step up. I mean, like a Sam Mayer, who I think would take a big jump next year.
Yeah, who do you guys of the Xfinity Series? Who shows up? Who steps up next year?
Brandon Jones.
I like the Brandon Jones pick.
Oh yeah, Brandon Jones. That's a good pick.
I like Sam Mayer a lot, but he feels like he just makes too many mistakes or things go wrong. I'm not confident. I actually think Riley Herbst, assuming he comes back next year, I think he wins a race. I'm not sure he goes like super like
with-
championship 4, but I think he wins a race or two.
With that much of the talent from this year going away,
Yeah, I mean,
he's got a chance to get a win.
like not no disrespect to the Xfinity series, but it's going to be easy. It's going to be less competitive next year. Or I will say the talent will be less next year, at least at the start, than it was this year. It'll remind me of when a couple of years ago when Bell, Reddick, and Custer all left at the same time. It's going to be similar to that.
I had a thought come to my head with KFB going to RCR. Everyone knows he was great in a Joe Gibbs Xfinity car. Let's give him a challenge. Let's put him in an RCR Xfinity car for a few races.
Is he even going to run Xfinity next year? Like, do you? Like,
I mean, probably not. But I would like to see it.
Like, I just don't know. Does RCR have the resources to just give him a car here and there for whatever 5-6 races a year, whatever he's allowed to do?
This is just an idea for the Xfinity series. Put him in the 3 car for a race.
There you go.
We brought it out. We brought it out one time for Jeffrey Earnhardt.
RC said that it would only have to be his family or an Earnhardt in the 3 car at any level. I'll bring out a name that I don't think any of us are thinking right now, but I think this person could really capitalize off of a weaker field because towards the end of the season, this driver was really, really doing well. Why not Ryan Sieg? Like, why not Ryan Sieg maybe sneak in, win a race? There were times he was running top 5, top 8, and now you take out the 3 biggest competition. Something happens to a JRM car or 2 up front, and all of a sudden the 39 car is a viable option to win, say, like a Texas race, because they've been fast there in the past.
And also, too, we have some more question marks, too, because, I mean,
Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, him too, and then also specifically in the Ford camp, we still don't know what Haley Deegan's plans are for next year officially.
I'm glad you mentioned Parker Kligerman, though. I think he could do something special. And the chat is reminding all of us, because I'm an idiot. I forgot Kyle Busch retired from the Xfinity series.
Yeah, but
did he really though? Like, we don't know for sure.
I wonder if that was under the impression he was going to stay with JGR, because now that he's on a different team, I mean, maybe he wants to see.
He might like the challenge. Yeah, there's a challenge there. I don't know.
If there is that challenge, I would be curious if he decided to come up for a race in an RCR car.
And I almost forgot Chandler Smith. I almost forgot about him. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's gonna look really different. I want to see how some of these guys who are in the truck series, even if they come up for part-time runs, I would like to see if Haley Deegan can replicate what she did.
Or Corey Heim too.
Corey Heim. Like I feel like I'd like to see Zane Smith in a couple of these races.
How many wins did Austin Hill get this year? Was it 2? Just super speedways?
I probably got 3.
Did he get a third one? I know he got at least 2 on super speedways. I don't know if he got a third, but either way, you never know. Austin Hill could do something fun.
I see a few Landon Castles in the chat, but I'm like, I mean, I got to see a little bit more right out the gate.
I was a little
this year.
I got 2. I was actually shocked that Castle was given another year, but at the same time, this might be his make or break year to get a win, or they're going to move on.
Yeah,
I mean, they might have to move on the way the economy is overall. I don't know if a crypto sponsor is exactly going to be substantial.
They said he's coming back next year. Did they say Voyager's coming back?
They're the ones that got him that ride, I think.
I'm skeptical, but who knows? We'll see. Moving on, because we're at 90 minutes and we haven't even gotten to the truck race yet.
Well, to be fair, we don't have much.
I know, we don't have much else to talk about. This has been a good show so far. I've enjoyed it, at least. I always enjoy talking to you guys. This has been a good time. But let's get to the truck race, because we do have to get to our first super chat stage break. I know there's a lot of people waiting on those. Zane Smith, 3rd time is the charm. 3rd championship 4 appearance in a row. He finally gets it done. I think he'd finished 2nd in points each of the last 2 years. This year, he is the champion. I don't think we said this yet, but all 3 champions started on the pole. Zane Smith got that streak started on Friday night. I thought it was a really good race. Up front, I think you had all 4 of the championship guys kind of racing near each other for the lead late in this race. You had Ty Majeski. I think he was trying to pass Chandler Smith on the inside, worked really hard and just overstepped it and spun out.
I think he was trying to pass Rhodes, actually.
Was it Rhodes? I don't remember. I knew he was trying to pass somebody for second.
there was 2 orange trucks in the lead. I remember that.
Then it might have been Rhodes. But either way, that was like, I hate to see Majeski spin because while he wasn't my pick, I wanted to see Majeski have a real shot. And he did. But it was cool to see them racing so on the edge of control that someone actually overstepped it and spun out. I thought it, like you mentioned Xfinity, I agree, probably the best racing of the weekend. But trucks were a close second in my book.
It was Zane Smith who was trying to pass because at the time it was Ben Rhodes in the lead.
On older tires.
Zane Smith had the fresher tires.
As the week has gone on and the weekend went on, I've become more and more in the minority on this thought. I thought only the last 15 laps were really that good. I thought the lead up for the most part was just sort of okay Phoenix racing. I thought it was better in the Cup race, through and through better.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was
started way too late though.
I think what made the end of the race, I agree with that. I think what made the end of the race really interesting was like the differing strategies of tires. That to me, because Ty Majeski, I think he took either none or 2. And that's how we got out front, and then he just wheeled that thing until he finally spun it into the inside wall. I thought it was a hell of a finish to watch those guys with differing tires, differing strategies go out there and. The ones with older tires had to hold off the charging guys with fresher tires. Zane Smith was probably, I would say, he was the best guy out there. But still, they made it a race. Like it's peak truck series, those last 15 laps.
Yeah, and Zane Smith, this is redemption for him too. Last year, he makes a championship 4, but remember, he was about to be out of the ride, it looked like. But also remember too, at the time, we didn't know that he had to deal in place with Chip Ganassi right before they were bought out and stuff. So then that, scattered all his plans. And then all of a sudden, Todd Gilliland moves up to the Cup Series, and then Front Row Motorsports like, hey, we got a ride open. And then he gets in the Ford program and he's scheduled to make some Cup Series starts for them in the future. And then a year later, he beats Ben Rhodes for the championship. So,
good point by Isaac.
That's a good story.
By Isaac here in the chat. This is Front Row Motorsports' first championship.
Yeah, they've been in the sport for decades, for a while, man. Really since my childhood, since I first started watching. Yeah. Yep. So it's good to see them finally be NASCAR champions. And, hopefully, will this maybe translate to Cup in the future? Maybe. I don't know. But they have a good driver in the pipeline.
I do got to say, though, their Cup driver, what was McDowell doing when he got up in the Bowman like that?
Oh yeah,
I even ripped on McDowell for that one. Like I was like, dude, what are you doing? That was as egregious as the one in the All-Star race with Bubba.
But what I found funny about this too is I actually saw him get into a similar incident in the same iRacing lobby as me at Las Vegas a month ago.
That's right. You told me about
It was the same accident basically, but he was the one who basically turned himself. But this time he turned someone.
He needed to impose McDowell's supremacy on Bowman in that moment.
Well, dang, Bowman just came back from a concussion symptom.
I needed to remind him.
From what I understand, though, I think Alex seems to be doing okay after that race. So.
That was Eric. Oh, go ahead.
I just thought something. It's funny as hell. Blake Harris's first day at Hendrick might be fixing that car. I just thought of that. That'd be like. Sorry.
He's on the radio saying, hey, give me something to do next week.
And weren't those the only 2 drivers who were from Phoenix? Basically,
they're both from Arizona. I know.
Yeah, they happen to get into a wreck together too.
Yeah, what are the odds?
Yeah, ironic.
Good for Front Row.
Yeah, what a way to end the Camping World era of the Truck Series with Craftsman coming back next year. I'm excited. But there's another Truck Series season. Had its messy lows, but had some serious highs. I think ended on a high note with this race. Congrats to Zane Smith. I know a lot of folks in the garage very high on Zane. Feel like he's got real potential. Remember when he was running a part-time Xfinity schedule for JRM like 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude's he's hopefully going places. He's certainly got the right people's attention.
And also one final thing too, this was the longest playoffs of the NASCAR season. We started in late July and ended in the beginning of November.
Wow.
They had lots of vacation time.
Gosh,
man. Oh my gosh.
It was so spread out. But hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. Well, I think it'll happen again next year, I think. But
that's a little shorter.
Okay.
Well, Zane will have a chance to go back to back because I believe he's full-time trucks again next year.
Part of me wonders after this championship, could we see them expand to be a 2-truck operation? Because we're still not sure what's going to happen with Deegan.
I mean, I would like to see Ford pump some more money into that team. I mean, they've proven themselves.
I want to see more Fords in the Xfinity series. I'd rather front row or somebody start an Xfinity team. There's like 2 Fords in the whole Xfinity series, right? There's like SHR's got a car, Sieg has 1 or 2 cars. Like there's like one in the back somewhere, I think. I don't know. That's about it, right? Need more Fords in Xfinity.
Something like that.
On that note, we're 100 minutes into the show. Let's get to our first super chat stage break. This might have been the
stage break we've had.
This might have been the longest stage of the year. But thank you everyone for your support. I really apologize it took us this long to get here. But let's go through for the next few minutes. Let's go through some super chats. First up from Cavante Caldwell. Glad I got to see Ty win. Glad to see Ty win. He's the best prospect ever. I know he struggled in Cup. A lot plays into that. But with his own team, I think he has playoff potential. Ooh, he's got high hopes for Gibbs as a rookie next year. Don't know if I'd go playoffs, but we'll see. He's got a shot. Napa Racing Fan 927 for Darian. Joey, I love you.
I love you.
I don't know how the song goes. Antar Das, thanks for the 5. I've been up for 40 hours straight, no sleep. I hate election season, but I have to cover it. Season went by fast. Hopefully 2023 can be even better. Well, I hope you get a good night's sleep tonight, Antar Das. Nobody should have to work that many hours straight focusing on politics, in my opinion. That sounds
I will say my job has to deal with some news coverage of politics, but I don't have to work that much, so I don't envy that.
Because I am the Senate.
Thanks for the support, Antar Dawson. Thank you, John Vandeventer. I'm very worried about Ty Gibbs. Hope he's okay. Yes, as we all said, best wishes and support out to that entire family. Alex Left, thanks for the 10. Hot take. I know people are happy for Jimmy Johnson coming back, but I'm thinking, is he insane? Not only has he been out of the sport for 2 years, he sucked his last 3 seasons in NASCAR. It's like Tom Brady. Has Tom Brady been that bad this year?
Well, Tom Brady, I mean, he won a ring a couple years ago. Tom Brady's not. Yeah, he's not up to par this year.
I do think Jimmy coming back to race just for health and safety reasons is a little surprising, but the dude also just ran a full IndyCar schedule, including ovals. So, maybe he's not as worried as others maybe.
He just wants to at least say he drove the next gen car, probably. So
I guess. Did we talk about Jimmy buying into Petty GMS last week?
Last week, yeah. Okay. I think we did. Yeah, we did.
Alex, thank you for the 10. I've got into the NASCAR Weekly podcast this year, and y'all do a great job. Will you guys be at Daytona? As an artist, I have some pieces for each of you that I want to give as a thank you. If not, how can I send them?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. It depends.
I think
it's went from a no to a maybe for me.
I'm planning to be at the Daytona 500. Yeah, I mean, reach out. That sounds really cool. We might be able to figure something out if not all of us are there, or if some of us are.
Likely a no for me, but hey, 3 of us do live close to each other, so if you see one, you kind of see us all, really.
Well, we appreciate the support, Alex. Thank you for watching. That one guy you don't know says favorite race of the season and least favorite race of the season. Something that isn't Texas. My favorite race, I don't know, the Coke 600 was pretty great. Least favorite race that isn't Texas, maybe the Spring Martinsville. I don't know. Does anyone have any off the top of their head?
Spring Martinsville, I think.
I'll go Spring Martinsville as my least favorite just because I was there, but I'm going to go Auto Club. That was my favorite race this year.
That was a good one.
That was good. Yeah, good way to kick off the season.
Spring Martinsville is definitely my least favorite. As far as favorite, maybe it's biased because I was there, but I really did enjoy how crazy the Dirt Bristol race was this year.
That was a good one. Also, Nashville Super Speedway was a good race, even though it was a long rain delay to get there. I thought that was a really good race this year.
Yeah.
Blake Thieman, thank you. Says, thanks for a great year. I work in retail, so I often watch y'all's videos during my lunch break to help me stay sane, especially Eric's. I watch Iceberg and Black Flags Matter videos once I get home. Y'all rock. Thank you so much, Blake. We appreciate the support. I'm going to do a few more. I know I don't want to go too far over time, but I do want to get a few more of these out of the way. NASCAR Shill says, thanks, Steve Phelps, for a great season of Parity. I love that. Steve Kuarski says, Gibbs is the champion and Eric Jones won in the 43. Safe to say 2022 was a decent year for me. Hopefully time matures, though. Also, rest in peace, Coy. Yeah, I like that we have another Eric Jones fan in here. That's awesome. Napa Racing Fan says, Kyle Petty, the last true champion was Matt Kenseth. Yeah, where did he say that quote? And why didn't Dale Jr. put that one on a t-shirt? I might have actually bought that one.
Did he say that recently? Or?
I've heard that before. I don't know where he said. Did he write it in a book maybe? I don't know.
Might have said it in the early speed days.
Maybe. Yeah. Seth Johnson with a 5. What a crazy season. Thanks to you guys for making it even more enjoyable. Well, thank you, Seth. We appreciate it. Jared Sanders. Love you, boys. Thanks for making the season great. Thank you, Jared. We appreciate that. Napa Racing Fan again. How would you improve race for the championship? I think we all agree, just distribution and promotion.
And also don't air it around the same time as Thursday Night Football too.
Yeah, well, there's
Don't
that.
put it on YouTube and then remove it.
Yeah, it just needs to make it accessible. If people have to go out of their way to find it, they're never gonna find it. Drive to Survive worked because it was on the homepage of Netflix, and like 1 billion people had Netflix subscription. So, MM Martin. Oh wait, no, here's one. Luna Fan 111. Hi, what's your guys' favorite NASCAR race? We've all answered this before. I'm partial to the 2012 Daytona 500 for bias.
I always say 2004 500 just because like the first race I ever watched.
2012 Quicken Loans 400. I got to see Junior win in person, but
that's pretty nuts.
Objectively, if I'm saying for because the ones I liked for being good, probably 05 500.
Yeah. Danny, do you have one off the top of your head?
Not really. I can't really think of one. Sorry.
No worries. I'm going to do 5 more here, and then we can hit the lightning round. Mark Martin fan for life. I found you guys after finding Eric's channel in the spring. It's been a heck of a season. Can't wait for next year. Thanks, guys. Well, thanks, M. Martin fan for life.
Man.
Yeah, we appreciate the support. Thank you for watching. Hunter Nixon Fishing. If Blaney has a no-win season or only a 1-win season next year, can you make the argument that Blaney may be a little overrated? And I do like Blaney, FYI. He clarifies.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, like when he's not winning, he is consistent at times, but then there are other times where it's like, oh, what is this team doing?
You can't put him in the tier of Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson like people like to do if he can't win. Like,
yeah, you can.
I mean, he'd kind of feel. I hate saying this as a Junior fan, but he'd fit kind of the Dale Jr. mold of being really good but not great.
Fair.
Yeah. Then sorry, Danny, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you mentioned Junior, but I mean, Junior often got compared to his dad, which made him seem very overrated. You compare Ryan Blaney to his dad, well, he's really good compared to his dad.
Yeah. At least in NASCAR, that is true.
At least in NASCAR. You talk about dirt track racing, different story.
Nah.
The NASCAR Bear sent 5. Now that I'm the official fantasy playoff champion, it's pronounced Adam Cub Racine. Oh, like Racine is my hometown, Wisconsin. Hashtag Milwaukee Mile is back. Very exciting.
Yes, it is.
Wisconsin fans rejoice.
Oh yeah, Darian, did you mention like who won that?
Oh yeah, Trevor Sports 98. Yeah, he won the overall.
I think he locked it up last week.
Yeah, he locked it up last week. Yeah.
Garibuki. Hope I'm saying that right. Take a shot every time Danny mentions the Vols or Bowman. See you at the pearly gates.
All right.
I'll be blacked out by that time.
All right, here we go. Vols Bowman.
No, don't kill him. You're going to kill him.
Don't do it now.
This is all Everclear.
No. All right. One more, and then we'll get to the lightning round. From Leaf Opstead. Hot take, Ty Gibbs wins the 2023 Daytona 500 for Coy. That would be a story.
That'd be sweet.
That would be pretty neat.
That would be very cool.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, we will get to the rest of the super chats here at the very end of the show. Thank you all so much for your support. We really appreciate it. Hope you're able to stick around to the end. Before we get to the lightning round, this episode is sponsored by Lionel Diecast. We've all got our final diecast to show off of the season. Lionel is the official diecast of NASCAR. You can order or pre-order in some cases your favorite driver's 2022 diecast. Also check out NASCAR Authentics, their latest wave at a Target or Walmart near you. I've got one of Matt Kenseth's first ever diecast, first ever schemes when he was in the Busch Series with Robbie Reiser. Lycos. What a nice, simple black scheme. I figured I'd show this off. Danny, you've got Logano, our series champion. Tell us about that one.
I've got the Champus here. This is the 2021 Bristol Dirt Race version. Kind of hard to tell in the webcam here, but it's got a few of the markings from the dirt surface. It was more of a dusty surface that day, but yeah, it's got a few of those markings there.
Darian, what's that there? You got some Dale Jr.?
Yep, a Dale Jr. Authentics, one of the newer ones that came out recently. So yeah,
is that the car he ran? Is that from Martinsville this year, or was that last year?
It is. Nope, it is from Martinsville this year. Yep.
And then Jared, I see a yellow roof, so he must have a Logano car. That's why he doesn't want to show it.
No.
I got this a couple weeks ago.
McDowell supremacy.
McDowell supremacy. Michael McDowell's 2021 Daytona 500 Elite. It's beautiful. There's damage on it. Don't matter because he got the Daytona 500. I got to be there. One of the most boring races I've ever witnessed in person.
Coldest races I've ever been.
The clouds fell upon us and we couldn't see half the damn track or race. but it was worth it to see Michael McDowell win.
I watched that race majority on a roof of the garage in the Daytona infield.
Wow.
Not a bad seat when there's not many people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, guys. Thank you to Lionel for sponsoring the NASCAR Weekly Podcast all year long. Darian, it's your favorite time of the week. We've got a change in the weather. What time is it?
Yes, for the final time in season 5 of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And
Completely broken, Darian.
Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, for the final time.
And he blew out his
You, you completely broke that.
Yeah, first off, we have Darian's mic completely going to the pearly gates as well. But in racing news, Road America has actually finished its repave. It took about a month to do, according to Bob.
speed run.
Yeah. Jimmy Johnson is looking to run 8 to 10 races in 2023, starting with the Daytona 500.
8 to 10. That's a lot. Might as well go full time, Jimmy. Buy a charter. Kick Noah Gragson out. He hasn't taken over yet. You just run the 42.
And also, possibly if he's eligible, the North Wilkesboro All-Star race.
He should be eligible, right?
He is eligible. I think he was asked that a few weeks ago.
I think they're talking about like they did with the Clash and changing up rules for it, maybe to get more. Yeah, so
If
who knows?
Jimmy
But
Johnson wants to attempt the North Wilkesboro All-Star race, NASCAR will bend the rules to fit it.
If-
I
That
just
makes
don't see how they would.
If Dale Jr. really wants to be in that, they'll make it happen.
Yeah.
we're just gonna see. We're just gonna see a bunch of old people driving now. Kyle Busch says that talks have dried up for him on a possible Indy 500 Coke 600 double though for 2023.
Interesting.
Steve O'Donnell is saying that NASCAR is looking into some things with the aero package for next year's short tracks and road course packages, according to Bob. So there will be changes more than likely before next year, which
That's
is
good.
pretty needed. 2023's Auto Club race has been confirmed for the one last race on the 2-mile configuration. They've already started tearing down the grandstands, and it's pretty much confirmed it will be a short track.
Originally, it was said last year would be it, but now it's next year's race will be the last one.
Well, now they're actually tearing stuff down. It's like in the process. I just love this. You know, it's going to get repaved and suck for 15 years or get turned into a short track and possibly be good from the get-go. That, you know.
I'll take that.
NASCAR is not pursuing a sponsor, title sponsor for the Chicago street race. Instead, NASCAR wants 4 founding partners at roughly $2 million annually each, including NBC's ad time, according to Adam Stern. So a different sponsorship model for a completely different.
So that's what they do for the NASCAR Cup Series. Currently, they have 4 premier partners.
NASCAR could expand into international racing as soon as 2024, and they've said it's really not a matter of if, it's when they're going to get across the borders.
Yeah, I think Adam Stern reported that today, that it is not if, it is when, and 2024 could be legitimate.
By international, do we mean just going to Canada?
I'm about
Or
to
Mexico.
I
They
think
talked about Mexico.
It'll be North America. So I heard from someone credible this year that there was a very good chance Mexico City was going to happen in 2023. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Well,
I didn't go
here's
public with it
something-
because it wasn't verifiable.
Well,
but they've been working hard at it.
Well, here's something really big to bring up about Mexico City is that Mexico City actually like the city government's not happy about it. They have had a huge influx of people moving from America to Mexico City. So like
How ironic!
you got your American audience too
Yeah.
there, you know, just
Yeah.
No,
it's
it would be
something funny.
great if they did Mexico City. I think the football field, the stadium concept could be applied in Europe or maybe also in Mexico or Canada somewhere. But
Yeah.
I've heard at least for like there was a chance something was going to happen this year. That was a while ago. Obviously, nothing came out of it. But
Yeah, I think we all heard like around Road America that was a possibility and just didn't
Just didn't happen.
materialize.
yeah, but maybe 2024.
KBM has confirmed that Chase Purdy will be in the number 4 and Jack Wood will be in the 51, driving
no.
as like the anchor driver, with different drivers subbing in and out of the
So,
51.
Get
So
ready to.
he'll-
Go
He'll
ahead.
be like the Corey Heim this year, more or less.
Jack Wood, he didn't really finish too many races this year, so hopefully he just finishes in that car, the truck next year.
Like, no offense to the guy, but that was someone I could have forgot was ever on GMS last year.
Yeah.
And then last two things here, the Nashville Fairgrounds project has progressed a bit further. Nothing too much, though, confirmed, but more steps could be taken to have that race available in the future. One of the things that they're talked about is possibly having a cup race every other year confirmed once it's available. And then Chicago street race general admission tickets are going on sale tomorrow. Reserve seats have already started selling, and they've started at $415 a pop.
Man.
Yeah, I think
Won't see me there.
Many people, myself included, are waiting to see when the general admission go on sale and see what those tickets start at. I'm sure they'll still be, maybe a little more expensive than your average NASCAR weekend at, say Kansas or something. But there are a lot of people that were kind of making comments that like, hey, for street races, it may be nice to have a grandstand ticket, but I think you're going to get more fun, more value out of it if you just get general admission. You walk around, you take in different vantage points throughout the weekend, throughout the day. So I think when those tickets go on sale, I think you'll really see ears perk up because the current reserved seating, some of the suites, those prices are kind of unattainable for the average fan for sure.
By the way, Noah Coleman was asking every other year in regards to the fairgrounds. I want to say that's just like a bare minimum.
Yeah,
that means bare minimum over 30 years. It'd be every other year. So that basically it locks in 15 guaranteed years of races at the National Fairgrounds Speedway as long as it all progresses the way it's supposed to. More than likely, you would see them maybe consistently every year. That's not saying it's locked in place. It would be every other year. It's just saying that's at least what it would be.
They talked about the option being to go in, like even going back and forth between fairgrounds and super speedway too. So
that wouldn't be a bad idea. But I think there's a world where they can both coexist together. Personally,
I think I don't know. I mean, they didn't sell out the super speedway this year. It'd be tough.
Even Chase Elliott was like begging them to go.
That was brutal.
Did y'all see?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to slam them like this, but did y'all see like National Fairgrounds records? I think Bob or somebody tweeted them out. Their attendance for the last year. I was shocked that, and I know you were there, Darren, but I was shocked to see that only like 4,000 or 5,000 people went to the All American 400, right?
Well, they did change the day.
It was a last minute decision on the day.
Yeah, that's right. They did change the day.
They moved everything to Saturday.
It was they listed out their four biggest events, and the SRX race, which we were all at, was like by far their biggest highest attended race of the year. I forgot about the date change. That probably affected it. You're right.
And the one before, the SRX before, was even more people than what you saw for that one.
Yeah, so I'm optimistic. Off topic, sort of, kind of, but I don't know if she's watching this. My girlfriend just texted me. I want to go to the LA Clash and I want to go to the Chicago Street Race next year. I don't know if she's watching, but she just texted me that out of the blue. She never texts me about NASCAR unless I initiate the conversation. So
you went to the Clash last year. You're going again.
Well, I was already planning to go again. My sister.
We're gonna be up for the 4th,
so maybe I'll be able to get her to go to her first race.
We're gonna be up for the 4th of July anyway, and just outside Chicago. So
yeah.
Speaking of better halves, Claudia said in regards to, I guess, the Las Vegas Formula One race, she said from the Music City Grand Prix experience, general admission is not the way to go. And I kind of agree with her. It was there's like fans where you can say anything.
Interesting. Sorry, I had a buffer on my OBS disconnected and then reconnected. I believe we're
back.
Apologies.
Looks like some people are saying lag in the chat.
But my bad. My computer gave me a notification. They could probably even hear the little diddle-doom over the stream. It's back now. I've never had that happen. Right. It just gave.
It didn't even lag on my end, so it's good for me.
I think it lagged for 5 seconds, and now we're back. So sorry about that, guys. But that's a little lag is a good way to end the lightning round. I think little electrical issue, if you will.
Yeah. Yes, and for the final time this season, that'll do it for this edition of the Lightning Round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
Before we get into our final couple of topics, this episode is sponsored by Forney Industries. Get it done with green. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking accessories, and much, much more. It's great for do-it-yourselfers all the way up to professional metalworkers. Forney has everything you need for your next project. I was actually at my local Ace Hardware earlier today, and I saw some things with the good old Forney logo out on display. So it was pretty cool to see them out in the wild. So be sure to shop all of Forney's top-of-the-line products online at forneyend.com, or head to maybe one of your local stores. You might be able to find an authorized Forney dealer near you as well. Their link is down in the description below. Thank you to Forney for continuing to sponsor the show all year long. Both Forney and Lionel, as well as the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, actually rode with us on the car at Phoenix this past weekend as associate contingency sponsors. So really, truly appreciate their support, not only of Out of the Groove, but of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. On that note, gentlemen, we really only have one big story this week so far to sort of touch on and give our takes on a little bit. But today, the start times for all the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup races next year were released. We have a few highlights here. I'm going to do my best to run through them because I don't have a nice, beautiful graphic to throw up on screen and highlight all these changes for you. But what was notable is that this is the most network races, which means races on Fox or big NBC, since 2009, since like the first years of the Car Tomorrow with the big wing on it. I believe there's one additional network race this year next year compared to this year. So that's an improvement. Jared, I know you tweeted earlier, and I thought this was a really good observation, that a lot of tracks without lights, like Dover, New Hampshire, Pocono, rather than starting at 3 p.m. Eastern, like a lot of races, they're starting at like 2 or 2:30 Eastern time, a little earlier in the day. You noted, I think, did you say Dover started like 4 this year?
Yeah.
Went up against darkness. Hopefully not going to be the case next year. So I think that's a good change.
Yeah, I like the idea there with that. I like that at the end of the year they had races starting at 2:00 the way they did this year, somewhere with like Talladega. So we're not going to run that issue. I like the moves overall with the start times for the most part. Also, we can mention the Sunday nights too.
Yeah,
that NASCAR does historically good on those nights.
Yeah, so Nashville, the Ally 400 has been moved to a later Sunday evening start. Chicago Street, what time did they get? 5, 6?
5:30.
5:30. So that's going to go into the evening, which will be really interesting. And Atlanta, were both Atlanta races moved to night races or just one?
Just one.
Just one.
They're both 400 miles though.
That's interesting.
The spring one is fine in the daytime. It's kind of honestly kind of cold that time of year. Me and Claudia camped at that race, and we woke up to 30-something degrees. It was really cold that morning, so I think you wouldn't want to have a night race for the spring.
I know the Clash will, for one, be on Fox this year. Was also moved. Oh yeah, it was on Fox this year, but it's been moved back a couple of hours. It'll be an evening race. It's on the West Coast, so I think it'll be getting dark during the main event. But for fans on the Central and Eastern time zones, it will be an evening race. What else? What other notable?
I got one.
Yeah,
I got one cool thing. So the thing that I like also is they moved Richmond to FS1 and Sonoma to Fox. So basically they switched channels of those two races. And there is a streak. There's a streak during the summer from Sonoma, Nashville, and Chicago where we have 3 races in a row in the middle of the summer on either Big Fox or Big NBC. And then Nashville, Chicago, and Atlanta in the summer are 3 night races or evening races in a row. So I like the idea of doing that too. And the Chicago Street Course is actually the added NBC race for this year.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. One note is that North Wilkesboro will be on FS1. The All-Star race at least will be on FS1. The truck race Saturday will actually be on Big Fox. So if you don't have cable and you just want to see NASCAR at North Wilkesboro, tune into the truck race. You'll be able to see that with an antenna.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do the same thing though that they did with the Clash. The Clash was originally going to be on FS1. They marketed it as that, and then because of the hype behind it. So if I'd say if you're fans, be respectful about it, but let them know like, hey, put this on Big Fox. We will watch.
Yeah. That is possible. Good point. That's what got me distracted. I forgot or confused. I forgot that the Clash was initially supposed to be on FS1. They moved it up to Fox. So that's interesting. So there's some Xfinity races that'll be on Big Fox. Their first Darlington race will be on main Fox, and then later in the year, Michigan, Road America, Kansas, and Miami are all expected to be on main NBC. So that's good for the Xfinity series. I mentioned trucks will have a race on main Fox for North Wilkesboro. So I don't know. At first glance, and Grant, I haven't looked at the schedule. I haven't studied it as closely as I know Jared. I think Jared's looked at it the closest amongst the 4 of us so far. But glancing at it, I like it. there's no noon starts. It's still going to be a lot of 2 and 3 p.m. Eastern starts, but I'm glad that they moved some of the important races that often go up against darkness. I'm glad they moved those up an hour. I think that's smart. That seems logical. I'm happy
David
they made
Land
those
is
changes.
punching the air right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
Well,
noon on the West Coast for a lot of these races.
Here's something, and again, if the All-Star race gets moved, this will change into Fox. This changes it too. The longest streaks of the season. There was only 3 long streaks on cable, and when I say long, I really don't mean all that long. After Talladega, there's 4 weeks before the next Fox race on the Coke 600, and then the summer after that 3-week span, there's 5 races on USA Network between the Chicago Street Course and Indianapolis, and then the 4 races that start the playoffs between Daytona and Talladega. So they're really cut, like, because I remember early on in the contracts, NBCSN and FS1 would have like 6 to 8 races in a row, and you just all the hype would die. The way that NASCAR and the networks work together on this, I think, will really help a lot of people stay interested, especially in the summer where USA really flourished outside of the 4th of July weekend. So if they're able to keep some hype going, get these big events throughout the season instead of just right at the start and then maybe like one here or there, but have Chicago in the middle, maybe get some stuff built up, have a night race at Atlanta that'll be sure to get a lot of people in, and Daytona not get rained out this year. I think that it might look really, really favorable for NASCAR in a year that they need it to be favorable for viewership.
I agree. I think the schedule will bode well for the numbers. If you're a numbers person, a stats person, I think this schedule was structured to maximize those. So I think NASCAR knew what they were doing. I think they got what they probably wanted. We'll just see how it pans out. I don't know. Overall, I'm okay with it. I knew it was realistic going in, and I still feel like I was pleasantly surprised by some of the minor changes in this case. So on that note, I know we've just hit the 2-hour mark. We've effectively, we've talked Phoenix to death. We've talked a lot about this season already, but I think maybe before we get into our final Super Chat stage break, let's just discuss the historic year that was 2022. Much has been made already of the 19 different winners. That was a big deal. That was a big positive. But there are also some big negatives. This next-gen car, while racing great at intermediates, some positive surprises there, it had some negative issues that cropped up, from fires in the cockpit to wheels falling off, 4-race suspensions for crew guys and crew chiefs left and right, to the safety concerns that came from specifically rear impacts. Kurt Busch had to miss most of the second half. Bowman had to miss most of the playoffs. More recently, Tyler Reddick had to get out of a car mid-race. NASCAR has changes planned that they're going to implement in time for next year. Will they be enough? We don't know. But I guess in so many words, and I understand this segment might be a bit rambly, but starting with you, Jarrett, how will you most remember the 2022 season?
Man, it feels, it's because of all you talked about and more. There's such a loaded question with that, but
yeah, I know it's full.
A roller coaster, man. I mean, I don't think that there was really, until this week being the first week of the off season, I don't think there's really been like downtime much, because the start of the season had all the crazy racing, all these crazy things, getting used to the new car, the highs and the lows of that. But then you get into the summer and you have everything from Kyle Busch, possibly I remember at the time I was like, not a chance Kyle Busch is out of that 18 car. You have that entire arc happen over the summer. You have, the crazy rumors come out about like, NASCAR could try an electric series. Dodge could come into this thing. There's Tony Stewart's taking jabs nonstop. The safety contract, Truex contract, the safety issues. You have so many of these things happen. Then in the playoffs, you have there's people talking back and forth, all the playoff talk they always have. You have more people coming to the track than in the last 10 years.
Yeah, attendance
maybe
was through the roof.
Yeah, and you have the stuff with giant penalties nonstop. Bubba had, and Kyle Larson, the championship fight. You have the announcement of the Chicago Street Course. This season, on and off the track, has probably been the most full and dense season to be paying attention. Like that would be my description. A roller coaster that is so like a dense roller coaster is what it's
I
been.
like that word dense. I was afraid you were going to say all that just to say it was chaotic. And I was going, oh,
Yeah,
that
it's
word again. No,
overused.
I like it. Dense. That's good. That's a good word to use. There was really no, I feel like the season really picked up. I think it was in April when Kyle Busch gave those first comments. How do you feel about your contract for next year? Ask Joe Gibbs. I feel like that was the start of it.
Yeah.
From there, I mean, we'd already had some good racing beforehand, but from there till now, it has been a nonstop roller coaster of news. You mentioned a bunch of things. I'll add on to it. Tyler Reddick announcing over a Zoom call that he's going to Toyota, not next year, but the year after. Obviously, things have changed since, but like, where did that come from? Like, this year's just full of moments like that I think we'll look back at. There's several moments that I feel like we'll look back at in 20 years if Twitter's still around. There will be tweets that say like, remember when? Like, can you guys believe this happened? And we'll all look back and say, yeah, that year was crazy.
This is random, but I was at the world premiere of Rowdy back this summer, and everyone thought it was weird. Like, why has he got a documentary coming out while he's still in the prime of his career? Now it all kind of makes more sense. Like, that was literally capping off his entire historic run up to the end of Joe Gibbs Racing. Basically, that whole movie was, and you know, that was just kind of just having to be able to be there live. I mean, it's funny. Like, Kyle Busch was sitting right the row behind me, like 4 or 5 seats over. So every now and then I just kind of like look back over and be like, you could just tell he was like, you know, just kind of like, you could just see on his face, like it's like he knew deep down, like this is it. This is how the story ends of Joe Gibbs a little bit.
Yeah, it ends up working out that way.
Yeah, I mean, this season is certainly interesting for sure. You know, unfortunately, it has a bit of a bitter taste in fans' mouths, just because of, like, you know, some of the things that went down towards the end of the season with the safety concerns, drivers being out and stuff like that. But then before that, some were arguing like, oh, is this like, you know, arguably, you know, the best season in NASCAR history? I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's certainly, like, I mean, it can sort of be in the conversation. I mean, the first year of this next gen car, you had 19 different winners, so much parity. And then, you know, a lot of the off the track stuff too is really what pushed this season up there, in my opinion, too. Just with all the chaotic stuff that, oh God, dang it, I said it, my bad. Just with all the crazy stuff that's happened, you know, with the drivers and, you know, the silly season news and all that stuff.
I think kind of at the core of all this also is the year began with not enough communication between drivers and the teams and NASCAR. And I think now
that come to a blow at some point this year too.
I think now they're having weekly safety meetings at the end of the year. The teams are now becoming outspoken about the next TV contract and getting the right revenue split. I just think over the course of this year, you know, a lot of this grew out of existing problems, but I think it's good that there's so much communication, like positive and negative communication. But the fact that there is this much communication, I think much of, not all of, but much of the veil that previously existed between the inner workings of NASCAR and the fans, I think a lot of that has been lifted. There's a lot of obviously great reporters out there that uncover some of that for us, but I just think naturally drivers being more outspoken, teams being more outspoken, I think fans now have a clearer picture of what the sport is, where it's going, than they've had in a long, long time. And I think I think some credit is owed to NASCAR leadership. I'm talking specifically about guys like Steve Phelps for, I think, welcoming a lot of that and not actively trying to shut all of it down. I don't know. I think that's another way this season will be remembered, is that, you know, drivers like Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano especially emerged as vocal leaders. Like, you know, we had Tony Stewart, who was vocal. I'm not sure he was always the best leader of the garage, but he was at least vocal. Now I think you have at least 2 or 3 drivers who have long-term stakes in the sport. Keselowski's an owner. Hamlin's an owner. You know, Harvick, he has a company that represents drivers. You know, his son's racing. Like, you have drivers with stakes in this sport that feel comfortable speaking their mind, and I think are some of the right people to have speaking their mind and talking to NASCAR about issues. Jeff Burton's in the mix as well. You know, I think that's another way this season will be remembered in a positive respect, long term.
It's going to be that's going to be really instrumental into how we hear about what's going on with the broadcasting rights post 2024 with them negotiating it next year. And I think like this, I don't want to say that some of the mayhem we've seen back and forth between drivers and and the sanctioning body. I don't want to say it's over just yet, and the teams especially, just because I think we're hitting a lull. I think we're like at the eye of the storm. We're about to it's about to ramp back up next year when you have so many people, you have outside players helping out the teams, and you have so many different ways of pulling on the broadcasting rights and who gets what money. That I think that next year, I almost think that maybe we won't have as many crazy stories come out throughout the year that we did like this year, but we're going to have like some big overarching stories to talk about throughout a lot of the summer. I'll put it like this. I think 2022 for me is solidified that I don't think when it comes to silly season, we're ever just going to see that summer lull again with NASCAR drama, and at least not for a long time, because we've seen it ramp up year after year where you don't know who's going where. You don't know what direction NASCAR is doing with what the season, the schedule. Every couple of years now, it seems like what Phelps and Ben Kennedy are really aiming to do is completely shuffle the schedule up so that it's something new each time. You're not going to get the way it used to be. Like, I don't know about you guys, but it used to be where you might get one big story a summer. Now you might get a big story every couple weeks, every 2 or 3 weeks in the summer. And I think we're going to see that ramp up a ton next year. And it's set up by what we've seen this year.
From the content creation side of things, you guys know that what we do is kind of our, it's our business a little bit.
Well,
and
sure.
that
It's good to have things to talk about. I think whether you're doing this as a job or just a fan invested, I think it's fun to have things to talk about.
It's good from this end of it, but at the same time, I can understand how some people could get tired of that too.
I mean, it can be exhausting at times. I thought things were going for a lull, and then Jimmy Johnson decided to buy part of Richard Petty's team. Like, what the? Where the hell did that come from?
I thought all the stories were done at that point.
And thank you, Irvin Alvarado, for the massive super chat. That's a kind of a good segue.
I thought you were joking.
Yeah, when he said it last week. That's right.
We really appreciate it. We will get to those in just a few minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I think this year, I agree with what you said, Jared. I think we're going to continue to see big bombshells. It feels like since the COVID year, 2020, there's just every week, it felt like there was something new. Like, NASCAR's doing what? They can do that?
Yeah.
And then 2021, 2022, we keep thinking it'll slow down. Things are back to normal, so to speak. So is NASCAR, right? It can't be that crazy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, every week, something new, good or bad. But I'm optimistic for 2023. I think we all are, at least cautiously. Some bold, risky things being tried, but I think I like where NASCAR leadership is trying to take the sport. Time will tell if fans resonate with it, if drivers are comfortable with it, if teams can make it work from a business standpoint, but I at least like the idea. And another big super chat here from Evan Walter. So on that note, before we get to, where are we? Before we get to our final thoughts, I do want to go through the final super chats because we do have a lot. If that's okay with you guys. You okay if I jump into that?
Go for it.
All right. Jay Fendi, thank you for the 10. Seeing the Gen 7s race in person at Atlanta back in March is one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Got some great shots towards the end too. Yeah, I can only imagine seeing them pack race around that 1.5 miles for the first time. That had to be something just kind of unreal to see in such tight confines. Jupiter Rain, thanks for the 2. For me, the championship doesn't matter. I just watch races. I think there are some drivers that would agree. What is that, Darian?
This is Jared's birthday present, his late birthday present. One of the pictures is the kids.
What did they do to my boy?
I think it's supposed to be like a children's book, I believe, but it's a little collector's thing too. I mean, look at that.
That's
cool.
That's not the book he's supposed to be reading on the stream, though.
I like that. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right.
That's cute. He's gonna love that. He's not in here right now. You gonna surprise him with that?
Oh, I showed him it before the show started.
Oh, okay. ABQ Doom, NASCAR should cut down laps at non-crown jewel races and or cut the season to late August or early September so people can keep track. We talked about maybe shortening the season a little bit. Shortening races that aren't crown jewels, I'm okay with that. Shortening them a little, not a lot. But I don't know. That is, anytime I say that, I feel like I get roasted. So I'm very careful about how I.
You don't want more racing, Eric.
What was the report? We didn't even talk about that. There was the rumor that they might have over 40 races on the schedule next year. Jeez Louise. I don't know if I believe that. We read this one earlier, but from Dalton, he said Jarrett be like Johnny Cash. I'm an everywhere man.
I'm an everywhere man.
Across the desert
everywhere.
I'm an everywhere. All right, Latoya Cheetah, thank you for the 5. Guys, hear me out. All-star race at a super speedway. Solves lack of passing at Texas. Allows smaller teams a better chance at $1 million. I'm genuinely rooting for it.
It would just
We-
require a
we
bunch
had
of.
that.
Oh, go
We
ahead.
had that with the Clash.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't for $1 million. Maybe that's all it takes. Put that shiny
Hey,
check at the end, and
go
everyone
More
wants to-
crashes.
Go
Yeah.
watch the last Clash race on the regular configuration.
Oh, yeah, that is a good point. Scott McNew, thank you for the 10. Speaking of North Wilkesboro, I was curious and checked out the scalper prices. It's over $1,000. Luckily, I have my tickets already. Hope you all have a great off season. And lastly, rest in peace, Coy Gibbs. Of course, thank you for the super chat, Scott McNew. And yeah, wow, those scalper prices.
Crazy.
I don't know. That's insane. I wonder how many people, if any, will actually pay that. Isaac, thank you for the 2. Almirola for the win at Road America this weekend. I see chat. Thank you. Yes, you won. You won despite that. Congratulations. GN NASCAR Fan 24. Congratulations, chat. You have won the NASCAR Weekly Podcast chat picks. Great. What do we win? Nothing. Now get out. Yeah.
Now get out.
Our respect. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I'm
See,
kidding.
get out.
We-
See
we-
ya in 2
You,
months.
you don't even earn that. Just kidding.
That's from SpongeBob. I didn't do it in the Mr. Krabs voice because then he says, "What? Get out! You're spoiling me moment." Wasn't that from SpongeBob?
Get out.
Yeah.
Get out of my restaurant. You're spoiling my moment.
Barrett Carpenter, thank you for the 5. Eric, I wish I was in Phoenix, but my family was, so thanks for being so awesome to Travis and my parents. It made a great impact. Keep going strong. Well, thank you, Barrett. It was great meeting, meeting the rest of your family. That was, it was a good time. Appreciate everyone who came up and said hi at Phoenix this weekend. Always love meeting fans and viewers and talking some racing. So that's awesome to hear. AJ Custer 85, who is the most underrated and most disappointing driver of 2022?
Ooh,
Underrated.
most
I know Jarrett's going
disappointing.
to say McDowell, although at this point he's probably overrating McDowell a little bit.
I'm realistic.
I'll throw Justin Haley's name in there. I think 22nd in points, I think is where he finished. Nothing amazing, but like quietly had a very decent season that I don't think anyone was really noting or talking about.
Obviously, most disappointing would have to be, I think, Kyle Busch, in my opinion.
Or
He had
missing the playoffs.
Yeah, he had other stuff going on, but still, man, I just didn't expect his
Um,
last season to be that bad.
I'm gonna say, and I know we got far, but I'm gonna say Blaney. Like we thought he took the next step in 21, and he took a step back, not winning. Like, yeah, he got further, but he did not win races. He did not compete for as many races as in 21, and it was disappointing to see him take that step back. I thought he really took a step forward in 2021.
Andrew Mayer sent 5, said, this was probably the worst championship race yet. It was the equivalent of a blowout win in game 7, but credit to the 22 team. The other 3 had no shot. I mean, yeah, sometimes you just have to tip your cap, as they would say in a game 7. Alex sent a couple. Had Ross or Bell won the championship, either would have been the first champion since Gordon in 1995 to have single digits in career wins by their first titles. I think so. Actually, no. And then they followed up with saying, "My bad, Keselowski in 2012." I was gonna say I thought there'd been a couple because I think when Kenseth won his title in 03, I think he'd only had like 7 or 8 career wins at that point as well.
I can double check on that.
Because Kenseth went winless, I think, in 01.
Yeah, no, he didn't have any. He didn't have over 10 wins at that point.
But there haven't been many. It has certainly been rare. And it
By the
didn't happen
time
this
he
year.
won, are we including 2003 in that?
He was saying, yeah, because
Then yeah, he had Kenseth had 7 at that point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sean Taylor, thanks for the 5. Logano's Shell Pennzoil 22 is going to go down as an iconic scheme because of the current sponsorship model not having one main sponsor through the year. I agree. I think the yellow and red 22 is going to be very recognizable for years to come.
Mhm.
Bring back the scallops.
I don't know about that. I'm not a fan.
I
of them.
liked it. I liked it.
It's all right. It's okay. I just don't like that it's called the scallops. Like, why is it like?
I
it makes me
don't
think of
know.
Potatoes or seafood.
Does this look like a scallop to you?
Yeah. What is that?
Yes.
I guess. Need for Speed sends his typical $2 super chat and says, "For the last time this year, praise Ty Dillon."
Yes.
Yes.
One last time.
Lucas Rodriguez. Oh, sorry, Danny. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't get the joke, man.
It's not a joke. It's serious. Praise Ty Dillon. Is there a chat? Is
Is
there a
Ty
joke in
Dillon
the
fan?
chat that I'm not seeing that I'm missing?
No, he's a Ty Dillon fan too. He
Okay.
has his picture.
Where did I leave off? Lucas Rodriguez sent 10, said, "Hey Jarrett, lifelong NASCAR fan and make custom diecasts for a living. My wife and I live 10 minutes from US Bank Stadium. Wanted to leave an invitation to stay with us while you're here and into the future."
Ooh.
That's
Well,
nice.
my dad and I have a hotel already set up, but I'm more than willing to meet people. I know I'm gonna be more than likely meeting up with Rusty Walrus there because I know he lives out there. So
Where's US Bank Stadium?
it's in Minneapolis.
Oh,
It's where
okay.
the Vikings play. So I
Got
mean,
it.
if y'all are even, y'all sound like you're in the neighborhood. So
Yeah.
I'll be there if y'all want to come out and we'll chat in 20-degree weather.
Speaking
It's like
of
it'll be like I'm at home.
speaking of football and being there, I know we talked about. I won't say my sports team, but I will be taking Darian and Jarrett to their first game at Neyland Stadium this weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm
And I
looking forward
will-
to that.
And I will wear a Notre Dame hat there.
Okay, I can handle a hat. Just don't be that guy that comes in full Notre Dame jersey, hat, everything.
Yeah, they're not
You
even
give
playing
me
there.
ideas, Danny. You give me ideas.
My girlfriend's taking me to my first Oklahoma football game in about 10 days. So we're
Who-
just hoping it won't be a
who
blowout.
Who are they going to play?
Oh, it's Oklahoma State. It's a big one, and it's
Ooh,
probably not going to end
in-state
well
rivalry.
this year. It's not going to.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for the best.
Wear
I
Adrian Peterson
so
jersey.
I went to the University of Texas, and I
Counting on you guys this weekend.
Yeah, I have absolutely zero school spirit, so I apologize to any UT fans. I will be at an Oklahoma game, probably wearing an Oklahoma hat or t-shirt. I apologize. Thank you, Jake Stew. Appreciate the 2024 championship race at Texas. Oh gosh, no, then they're just trolling now. Jupiter Rain, thanks for the 2. Chase chokes again, no surprise, still not a real champ. Yikes. Chase has been a 3 straight
Hey.
championship for us. He's not.
Yeah.
5
chill
years ago
out.
he was
Bye-bye.
choking, sure, but not now. Come on now.
Mm.
Sly Supersonic, appreciate it. Hi, Fantastic Four. I had to drop by for the last NWP show. Thank
Hi.
you. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Double Zero Music. Thank you all for what you do. Can't wait for 2023. Thank you very much. We appreciate
Thank you
that.
for
Already looking
watching.
forward to next year. Shorty PJM, thanks for the 10. Oh my gosh, God, I love reading their comments. So as I yelled all year, hashtag year of the Jolo happened. Oh my God. Twin sis, we screamed and cried, we celebrated and died. So I was right, or was I right? I hope you survived. I hope you didn't actually die.
Yeah,
But
hope
thank
you-
you for the
hope you're
super
okay.
chat. That's very celebratory. Jupiter Rain, thanks for the 2. Logano was the best driver all season. Deserved champ. Ooh, I don't know about all season, but he was top 2 or 3,
Yeah, it was
statistically speaking. At least he was very much in contention all year. Hot Piss, always good to see you. Thanks for the 5. Do you guys think Xfinity changed to purple because they knew ahead of time Craftsman was coming back? What I don't know. Xfinity's a
No,
big
that was a see. I don't even know what their color is really anymore because I have seen green Xfinity trucks here in our town.
I haven't seen that. I like the purple. I think it's purple, right? I like their new color, but
Purple's their main color now, but
Mhm.
it is an interesting. They might have. Maybe that was part of it. Who knows? NASCAR comparisons says ranking every road course race best to worst. First was Coda, second was Watkins Glen, third Road America, fourth Indy Road, fifth Sonoma, sixth Charlotte Roval. Coda was good. I don't know if I'd put it at number 1. I enjoyed Sonoma. I remember Road America was okay.
Yeah.
Roval was okay. I don't really remember Watkins Glen.
Road America is a track I'm definitely gonna miss for next year on the Cup Series.
I didn't
schedule,
enjoy
not
Indy.
being on the Cup
Indy
schedule.
Road was fine, but the ending was just too messy for my
Mhm.
tastes. But thanks, NASCAR comparisons. Appreciate you sharing your take on that. Immortal for the 5. Thank you guys for covering the 2022 season. On to 23. Also, what past NASCAR races should I watch during the off season?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's 2005 Coca-Cola 600. That's a chaotic, crazy race.
Okay.
I love how I put
I'll
the
give
fear
you,
of God into you. You're like, don't say chaotic. Don't say chaotic.
Okay, I'll give you one that people won't usually tell you. 2000 UAW GM Quality 500.
What
It's
the
one
hell
of the
is that?
best. It is one of the best, most underrated Charlotte races ever. There was no clear-cut guy dominating. There were plenty of people passing throughout the race. If you don't spoil it for yourself, you're not going to realize until like the last probably 20 laps who actually wins that race. It is a treat to watch.
I'll have to go back and watch that one. I just want to know if any of those companies you just said are even still in business. What was it? UAW?
GM?
GM's probably still in business. What else was it?
UAW GM Quality.
Oh, okay,
So-
okay. That's a mouthful.
They're still. But yeah, like Bologna Burger says in the chat, I've been waiting my whole life to drop that one. That is such an underrated race, man.
PTM Billy, thank you for the 5. Ready for season 6. Looking forward to Daytona in February. I made it to Florida in time to experience my first hurricane. welcome to Florida, I guess.
Ooh,
Yeah, there is some
nice.
sort of like tropical storm or something forming off the coast of Daytona. I hope-
Again? Wasn't there
yeah, well, it's,
something-
it's coming at a different angle than Hurricane Ian did a few
Mhm.
weeks back, but hopefully everyone's in that path stays safe.
Eric, I can't remember in your brief time in Florida, did you go through any hurricanes there? Or wait, no, you live in Texas, so you probably had a few there, haven't
I've
you?
had a few in Texas. We had a tree fall in our garage during Harvey a few years
That's
back.
right.
That was good times. Yeah, I don't remember if I went through any in Florida. I don't think I did. I don't think I did when I was in Florida, thankfully. But good luck. Best wishes to everyone in the path of that storm. As someone from Houston, I know hurricanes can be bad, can be very, very bad. Thank you, Need for Speed. Chaos, 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 chaos. There you go. Beautiful. Isaac, thanks for the 5. First season, I watched all the NWP episodes. Thank you all so much for a great season and for giving us one place to talk NASCAR week to week. Thank you, Isaac. Really appreciate that. Tuned into every episode. Shoot, I didn't even tune into every episode.
Perfect attendance.
Yeah, you and Jarrett, I need to get you a plaque or a framed
Yeah.
certificate as well. Then we got a couple massive super chats. Very generous. Thank you first to Irvin Alvarado, longtime viewer. I believe, Irvin, I think were you on the rear decklet of the Out of the Group car this week? I'm pretty sure I saw your name. I may be wrong about that, but either way, thank you for the support. My motorsport season in person attending was memorable. First time going to Monster Jam, Charlotte Sweep of the Coke 600 and the Roval, and Formula E Brooklyn Street Race for the 4th time. If that's not
wow.
diversified in racing, then I don't know what is. Yeah, wow, that's a
As
heck of a
diverse as
lineup right there.
Diverse as it gets.
I love that. I haven't been to a Monster Jam since I was like 8 or 9 years old. Have any of you
Yeah.
guys been since then?
It's
I think I was. My dad took me like when I think I was in high school. My dad took me and my brother. It was
Yes.
pretty cool.
I was probably in first grade.
I'd like to go back at some point. Evan Walters also dropped 50. Really appreciate that, Evan. Another great NASCAR and NWP season. Thank you guys for your hard work. Excited for 23. Well, that's very kind of you. This is not hard
Thank you.
work. This is just fun. We just are 4 guys that get to have a conversation about racing every week, and thankfully you guys all join the conversation as well and make it even more worth our while. So we appreciate you a ton. Pog Prowl. What were your guys' thoughts on the Xfinity race at Portland and its return next year? I
I'm
enjoyed
gonna
the
be
race.
honest. I didn't get a chance to pay much attention to it because I was there covering Gateway that same weekend. So I can't say I saw that much from it, other
That's
than
right.
other than the Awuji Ty Gibbs situation.
I saw it. I just remember because I picked Allmendinger for that race, and Danny, you literally leaned over and you went, "Well, it looks like your pick's not going to win." And I'm like,
Just
damn.
wait.
And then the next day, there's Chris Rice with the trophy at the tweet up.
Yeah, that's right. That
Yeah.
was interesting.
Portland, that race started with under wet conditions, and then
Yep.
dried up over the course of the day. So I'd love to see what it looks like. And I know it rains a lot in that area of the country, I suppose. But I'd love to see a fully dry race. I know it's a logistical difficulty for a lot of these Xfinity teams getting all the way out there, but I'm glad they're giving it another shot. From what I heard, the
Yeah.
crowd in person was really good despite the weather issues. So I think it's worthwhile. I think it's cool. Napa Racing Fan, we have just a handful more. Napa Racing Fan sent 2, said North Wilkesboro needs to be both races on Fox, not FS1. That's what you're talking about, Jarrett. Make your voices heard. Respectfully, of course. Blue
Yes.
Jimmy Fan, always good to see you. Thanks for the 10. 2022 was a really great year. Finally got to meet both Eric and Jarrett. I was super nervous at first, but y'all welcomed me with open arms. Hope to meet the other 2 in 2023. Love you guys. NWP forever. Yeah, I know we met him at Martinsville, and then I think I saw Blue Jimmy again. Was it at Pocono? I think I ran into him. So really appreciate him always being in our chat, helping moderate things and support us.
Oh,
that?
my dad just sent me this about the hurricane. The hurricane is a Cat 1 making landfall tonight, and further up the coast, Daytona Beach is getting slammed with a water surge.
Ooh. Dude, that came out
So-
of nowhere. Like last night, it was like, oh yeah, there might be a storm.
That-
came out of nowhere. Jeez.
Props to my dad. I know he's watching.
Wow.
By the way, I just forgot to acknowledge. My wife reminded me that when someone asked if we'd been to Monster Jam, I have been to Monster Jam before. I forgot about that. I went to Monster Jam at Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville. I forgot about that.
Oh.
Nice. It must have left quite the impression on you then.
Well, I mean, those arena shows are a lot smaller than the stadium shows, so there's not usually the traditional like Monster Jam you think of in the big stadiums.
Oh, really? I didn't realize they had like an abridged version for
yeah,
smaller venues.
because they go in when they go in basketball arenas, it's so much smaller they can't do as much.
Whoa, I didn't know they even went basketball arenas. I
didn't
saw them
either.
at the Texas Stadium.
Literally, I've seen them where the Tennessee Vols play basketball. That's where I saw Monster Jam.
Whoa, interesting. Very versatile. Why can't NASCAR race in a basketball stadium?
Yeah.
We can get six cars.
Need for Speed. That we can do a pit crew competition. That works. Need for Speed. Thanks again. I've been told that if you say chaos 5 times backwards, you summon BJ McLeod. What would that be?
Be careful how you say that.
Yeah, I guess you have to be. Actually,
just say Squidward's name backwards.
I'm not even gonna try. I'm scared. EW, thanks for the 10% chance we see another Hail Melon move in 23. I'm gonna say 0. I think there's
under 1.
I think there'll be a rule in place by next year.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
so.
Oh, there's Blue Jimmy saying, "Yeah, Squidward."
Yeah, Squidward. Yeah, Squidward. Spencer Purcell, 25. Thank you for the very generous super chat. Thank you, everyone, for a great 2022 season. You guys were all amazing all year long, and we're on to bigger and better things in 23. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for giving us a good time talking NASCAR. Well, thank you, Spencer. That's very sweet and very generous of you. Thank you for sharing.
And appreciate your work moderating the chat here for us too.
Absolutely. We have another one from Latoya Cheetah. My twin. Oh, so this is Shorty's twin. I guess they're twin sisters.
Sorry, I just saw what Jarrett put in the chat.
Oh no. Literally shouted it since late 21, year of the freaking Jolo come true. Everyone counted him out. Now look, my most favorite driver is now a 2-time champion. Yes, sir. Wow, they are hyped about Logano winning the championship. I respect it. Jarrett, what did you put in the chat? I need to see.
Oh, don't read it. Don't read it.
I'm reading it.
Not out loud.
Well done, Jarrett. How do you pronounce that? Are you sure you pronounce that the way you're thinking? I don't know. Need for Speed, thanks for 2. We're not going to let them end the podcast. Oh, God. Eventually. We're already at 2.5 hours. Zachary, Dale Jr. fan, says Bowman supremacy in 2023. See y'all in February. Yeah, that makes Danny happy.
Hey, he's the most hyped he's been on.
Hey,
what if
we're
it's just,
supposed to be objective?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What if it's not Bowman supremacy or McDowell supremacy? It's just Blake Harris supremacy.
He was a journalist.
Look, if Ally says next year they want to run a UT Orange Ally car, I'm sorry, guys, it's over.
Until they go to Georgia.
Oh, man, too soon.
Trevor Bailey sent 10. My favorite 2022 memory was Noah Gregson winning at Darlington. I was jumping up and down like a little girl and crying. NWP Fantasy Champions. I can't wait for the 2023 season and Nashville Super Speedway. That's hilarious. I love getting hyped in the stands. That's pretty awesome.
By the way, someone asked what's the record for longest podcast. We'll never beat that record. That was like over 3.5 hours.
I think it was almost 4.
What if I just like leave the thumbnail up and just don't end the stream until midnight tonight just for fun?
Big brain.
You just randomly come back. Oh, you're still here.
Oh my God. Don't give me that. I might do that. I think that'd it'd be like that time Snoop Dogg like left his stream on like overnight, like went and then like came back in the next morning with his breakfast and saw that it was still live.
Like,
well, who was it? And Kamikaze, he just streamed himself sleeping one time.
Yeah, oh my God, I love that. All right.
Oh, man.
Herschel, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for the podcast. I only started watching NASCAR mid-season. If it wasn't for your podcast, I probably wouldn't have fallen in love with NASCAR so quickly. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Herschel.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
really
man.
appreciate that. Hope you've enjoyed the season. Are you a Logano fan now? Or are you did you Chastain after the Hail Melon? I'd be curious to see if they latched on to any particular driver like the second half of this year. I'd be curious. But thanks for the support. And thank you, Steve. I think this might be the last one from Steve Kuharski. Need someone to make graphics for the show next year? I don't know. Maybe our show is fairly graphics free. As you can see, the only graphic on screen right now, hold on a second, is this little, it's spinning around on the screen, this little NWP logo. We do have a guy that Jet MDK has made a lot of our graphics in the past.
Yes.
So be sure to check him out on YouTube. Like he did our intro and everything, intro and outro, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you never know. If we're ever in the market looking for someone, we will. We know who to turn to first.
Randomly, someone said, "Who is the oldest?" That would be me. I'm 27.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Are there any other good questions? Yeah. Who is the oldest? No, we can't let them end the podcast. Eric, how'd you find out Matt was your favorite driver? I don't know. It was just born with it. It was written on my birth certificate, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe he's born with it. Maybe he's a Kenza fan.
No, it was. I don't know. I just liked the black and yellow paint scheme when I was like 7 years old. Thank you, Napa Racing fan. Thanks for another great NWP season. I enjoyed it. We
Thank
appreciate
you for watching.
Napa Racing
Appreciate
fan. And I guess on that note, closing thoughts, gentlemen. Another season. Jared is
Man.
out ski. He's already done. I know we've gone a little late for him. It's past his bedtime. I understand. I respect it. But yeah,
Man,
it's been an honor.
Where do I start, man? It's just we've been doing this for half a decade now. 5 years, 5 seasons, finally comes to a close. I don't know, like these finales are always like bittersweet for me and stuff because I don't know, it's just we've been doing this for so long and stuff. So like, during the off-season months when there's really, no other news and stuff, and when we're not doing the show, it feels so weird now not doing this podcast every single week. So just thank y'all for making it fun, whoever's watching, and especially you guys for making this fun to be a part of too. We accomplished a lot this year. Finished out the year strong, of course, with Eric's deal and stuff. That was awesome to see to end the season, and I can't wait to see y'all for season 6. Wow, season 6.
Jared,
It's been a hell of a year.
Oh my God.
Oh, I love the cigar.
I got it.
The smoke detector goes off.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah. You didn't think about that?
I forgot one was in here.
Oh no. All
We're
right,
gonna hear it go off. That's how we're gonna come back, and you're just gonna hear beep, beep.
You're gonna tell us after the chat like your landlord's like, yeah, you're gonna get a fine for smoking in
I'm
your
just hoping the
apartment.
sprinklers don't destroy his PC.
No, there's no sprinklers in here. I'm not that upscale.
Okay.
No, they actually just came in and did a routine check today, so I don't have to worry for 6 months.
Oh, you get checks in your apartment? I haven't gotten a single.
Yeah, they check whether I want them to come in or not.
It's lawless in Darian's apartment. Cody Workman just sent a super chat, said, "Love cheering Chastain on. Gave us people here in Southwest Florida something to cheer for this past month. Great season, y'all. That's awesome. Love that Chastain."
I should probably take that smoke detector off if we stay on air much longer.
Are you allowed to take those? I don't know how smoke detectors work.
We can do it to fix them, and I'll fix it for a moment.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I guess on that note, I was gonna have everyone kind of give their final thoughts. Darian gave his. Jared, do we need to rush out of here?
No. If it goes off, I'll mute myself.
Oh,
The show must go on.
well, we can tell how Jarrett feels about making it through 5 seasons of NWP. Danny, how about you? It's been an honor serving alongside you.
It has been an honor. Make it sound like we're saying goodbye.
I didn't know why I said it like that. Well, in a way, it is like so. You guys all live in Tennessee now. Y'all all live like within like 5-10 minutes of each other.
And we're going to a game this weekend.
I live in Space City, Texas. So I don't know when I'll see you guys next in person. Probably not until next year at the very least. So
well, when we start preparing for season 6.
I mean, we talk every we talk in our group chat almost every day. We'll probably be on some Zoom call. We'll talk.
Hopefully we can have.
But
hopefully we've been doing pretty good this over the last few seasons. Hopefully we can try to make at least one show a year where we're in person like we have been here lately.
Yeah, hopefully. But I'm sorry, Danny, I didn't mean to cut you off. But it does feel like goodbye in a way. I look forward to these Wednesday nights every week. So,
well, we'll all. That's why we have our Twitter group chat. We'll keep in touch with each other that way.
Yeah, but we got till February 1st, so we got like 3 months basically of not having all of our friends in the chat with us.
I hate that you say friends in the chat. They're literally rooting for the smoke detector to go off.
I love you too, guys.
Are
love
they
you
actually
too.
our friends?
Well, I just got another text from my dad. He's coming in clutch again, saying that with a cigar, the smoke detector shouldn't go off, so they might have to wait a while.
Okay. Well, I won't keep anyone here any longer. Oh, Groovy Goose does ask, what are y'all's off-season plans? Does anyone have anything to share?
Content, putting out content.
This past week, I tried a new live stream series on my channel, and I'm thinking about maybe not doing it every week so far in the off season, but maybe every 2 weeks might continue that. We talk a little bit of NASCAR, and as long as everyone can be on their best behavior like they were this past one, maybe we'll do a little call-in live stream, let you guys know. It's nice to talk about. We talk to these guys all the time, but it's nice to talk to other NASCAR fans every now and again about NASCAR and what they want to talk about. So that's my plans. There's tons of videos I've got planned that I just ain't had time to sit down and research and write. So I got plenty of those I want to do. And you guys know me. I'm gonna be watching the Vols. I think the playoffs are still possible.
Yes, sir. And as for me, obviously, the videos stuff or whatever. Sorry for not uploading for 3 weeks. I go through those spurts where I'm like, I have anything creative to make, so I'll just wait until the end of the season. So you'll see more of the 2022 season recap videos, and hopefully I'll get to go back home for Christmas too. It's been a while since I've been in Las Vegas. Over a year. Wow, over a year. So hopefully I'll get to spend Christmas time with my family and stuff. But I'll be seeing my little cousin and my auntie for Thanksgiving. So yeah, just spend time with the family. So yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of videos and stuff like that, but live stream wise, might be a little. As you see, smoke. It's
as I was telling Jarrett, I'm a Tennessee fan. We're supposed to smoke a cigar after we beat Alabama. I don't smoke cigars, and also I was busy working that night, so he's just doing it for me. It's a little late, but he's doing it for me.
the first cigar I've smoked since I've graduated high school, so it's been a while. But no, I might do a live stream here or there. I'm gonna upgrade the setup. I think it'd be pretty cool. But there's one I know for sure that's gonna happen. I gotta read a NASCAR romance novel.
Yep.
I'm gonna go through with it. It's gonna be fun. But hey, I did find one from that Liz Allison wrote. I read some of it, and it is going to be a hoot.
A hoot.
A hoot.
A hoot.
Alan Bestwick, AB, not the other AB, the other AB.
I wish he could have found a way to use hoot during SRX races.
Well, I will say I do know in 82 days I will be hosting the season 6 premiere, so that should be fun.
You know the day down to the day. That's
Yeah,
why you
he's
have
got the
perfect
whole-
attendance. My God.
He's got the whole date
Jared,
and everything.
How
What's the
many
date?
how many days until we'll be on season 7, episode 16? How many days away is that?
That far only know the season 6 schedule for NASCAR just got finalized. So
And here I thought you were really something special. I can't believe this.
you're welcome, Eric. You're welcome.
Well, as for me, I'll be doing videos. My videos don't slow down in the off season much, if at all. And then I got a lot of travel plans. I'll be visiting various family and friends over the next few weeks. I'll be all over the place. So looking forward.
Going to that Sooners game.
I'm going to that Oklahoma State game. That will be interesting. I've never been to a college football game in my life, so I'm excited to go.
That still shocks me. I know you said you didn't have much school spirit, but you should have at least went to a Texas game.
So I lived my freshman year. I lived in those big dorms that are like 2 blocks from the stadium, and like on Saturdays I'd hear the cheers. People would be going to the games, and I would sit in my dorm room and watch the Xfinity race on my laptop.
Hey, it's like me. I skip my prom to go to watch a race.
Oh my goodness!
Okay, without giving away details, Jarrett went to a small school. You went to a big school. That shocks me.
I was there to get my degree, get out, and make some friends along the way,
man.
for sure. But I was there for business reasons. I got in and out in 3.5 years. I was speed running that I didn't have time for any extracurriculars that weren't NASCAR related.
Tame.
Anyway, a couple more super chats real quick. Latoya Cheetah sent another one. By the way, Logano already has a new slogan. He's doing 2 and 3 in 23, 2 LA Coliseum clashes and 3 titles. Market Town people. Wow, they are very confident over there. Groovy Goose, I want last word for 22. Love you guys and the chat. Thank you, Groovy Goose. It's very kind of you to say. Rosh Crashtain says, my off-season plans, F1, Chili Bowl, and the Rolex.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
big 3
F1
right there.
season's not over yet. That's right.
And then Latoya's sister, I believe, if I'm following the meta correctly,
The
lore correctly says yes, but no, it'll be the 23 in 23. So I guess she's pulling for Bubba next year. Logano got his. Bubba's got to get his next year.
We'll see.
So we'll see. On that note, I guess we'll see you all in February. Jared said 82 days. You know exactly what day that is, Jared? Is it February 1st?
The 1st of February, first day.
Easy.
2-1.
Is that Groundhog's Day or is that February 2nd?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It don't matter what day it is. That's NWP day.
It don't matter if
2, 1,
he sees
2,
Day
3.
now.
It don't matter if he sees his shadow or doesn't. We're gonna be here live on the Iceberg in 82 days.
Yeah. Thank you
2,
guys
1,
so much.
2, 3.
Thank you guys so much for 5 glorious seasons, 5 glorious years, and we can't wait for the next 5.
At least.
Yeah.
Sayonara, y'all. Thanks for watching. See you next year.
Goodbye.
Now get out. Leave.
Green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy.
Thank you. Wow!
Hell yeah. Great job, man.
Now we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby. Come on. Oh my God, guys. Yes. Yes. Unbelievable. You guys are the best. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, what a year.
Toodaloo!
Green, green.
Holy moly.
Great job. Yeah. This guy.
Thank you. Wow.
Hell yeah. Great job, man.
Now we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby. Come on. Oh my God, guys. Yes. Yes. Unbelievable. You guys are the best. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, what a year.